Oh, I need. Good evening. Welcome in, guys. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the Cantrell Country Travelway show. Welcome. Obviously, I'd say hello to Richard, but he's on screen right now. So, hello there, Richard.
I'm saying hello to
But
the people
definitely welcome in our good friend Harlan. He's a good member. He's a good part of that's come into the community now, over from Tinkerbell. So, anyways, guys, how's everybody doing tonight? Thank goodness it's Thursday.
Yes, we're doing great.
My Thursday, Friday, as I would say. Because I'm on my 4-day weekend.
Yay. I remember what those used to look. Now I'm on a forever weekend.
Oh.
Except that it's so darn busy. I'm busier now than when I worked. So it's like, what the heck? I would like to have a 4-day weekend again, because when I worked, I deliberately was lazy on my 4-day weekends.
Okay.
So
I work from home, so I could work from anywhere, so it helps.
yeah, that does help.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I'm trying to get you to be able to work from anywhere.
That just means they basically pay for me. If I go on a cruise, they pay for the internet. So
there you go.
There you go. Hey, that's a good workplace.
Welcome in, Harlan. Good to see you. Hopefully we get some more people here. I'm gonna give it a few more minutes, guys. Let's just enjoy the chat a little bit and see if we can get some more people to come in.
Yeah.
Everybody having a good week? How's everybody's weather?
Right now it rained a little bit here.
They did say, I got an alert that said thunderstorms were possible in the next couple of hours. We're in the weird weather here in Vegas where one day it could be around 90 and the next day it's in the high 60s.
This is Oliver. This is our orange kitty.
Oh, nice. Hello there, Oliver.
Hello, David T.
And of course, and let's welcome in our good friend David T. Hey, David T.
Hi, David T.
I know. You know what? We were talking Disney cruise, so you know he was going to show up.
Yeah, you would think so.
Now Richard has to behave because Mama D is in the house.
Yep, there's
We'll
Debbie.
have to behave.
Mama D has returned to watch over Richard. I know I always behave, so
I'll have her join the stream because I'm not acting like nice today. So.
Uh-oh.
Well, you better behave. Mama D's in the chat now. I'm always behaving.
Oh, gosh.
Harlan is asking what part of Las Vegas you guys live in. So I don't know how to answer that.
Yes.
We live in Henderson, which is a separate city. We're basically east of the Strip, about 10 minutes or so. Well, actually, we can see from right outside our house. We have we're on a hill. We have a panoramic view of the Strip.
Okay.
We can see everything. We can see the Sphere when it's lit up.
Well, not from our house.
Well, not from the house, but
drive
about
out of our section.
couple of minutes outside of our community.
Okay.
And so, in fact, one year we decided to watch the New Year's Eve fireworks. And we realized that, it gets hot here in the summer, but people don't realize that it goes below freezing in the winter because it's the high desert. And you get these people on the Strip on New Year's Eve. And New Year's Eve is, the Strip is comparable to Times Square on New Year's Eve. And you have these people that come in wearing shorts and a T-shirt, and it's like 28 degrees and breezy, and they're freezing.
Yeah.
So it was like 30 degrees, and here we are watching. So Jill's sitting out there like,
I had a nice warm jacket on, but it was still cold.
And we're watching the fireworks from a distance. And after it was done, she basically said, "We're going home."
Yeah, it's the same thing with Florida. If you'd get around there around December time and you try to go
Yeah.
to those after hours events, it can get down to about 30.
Oh, it
in
can.
Florida.
It can get downright cold down here in Florida.
We know firsthand because we were there, I think around the millennium, and
Yeah.
one of the
It's
side
2000, I
trips,
think.
one of the side trips we did was take a drive out to Cape Canaveral, and it was
Early January
because our
Okay.
dog had 3 weeks off Christmas break, so the first week of January. And I remember we were at Cape Canaveral, and the first thing we did when we got there is we had to get sweatshirts
Yep.
because it was so
Oh, yeah.
cold.
It can get cold. I mean, if you all remember, I remember being here's how cold it can get. When they were doing the shuttles, I remember being home that morning that the Challenger blew up. I actually watched it on TV because I was homesick. That day, it got well below 20 degrees, and it froze the O-rings. That's what caused it to blow up. But that's how bad. And I agree. You know, the deserts can get just as cold.
Yeah.
And then of course, Harlan was telling you and Jill that he used to live in, where did he say? Near part of the downtown. Okay, so you did catch it. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, but you lived at the time up in the Panhandle area, though, didn't you?
Who?
Because you, Dave.
Oh, I was still in Michigan when that happened.
Oh,
Michigan.
I moved to Florida until '99.
Yeah.
Because I know the Panhandle gets snow and
It
gets downright cold.
It can. All right. Well, you know what? We're getting a bunch of people in here now, so let's. I think they want to hear more about the Disney treasure.
Yes.
We got a bunch of people in here now.
Yep. And of course, we got Mama D. She'll keep Richard in line. Hello, Mama D. I hope you're feeling. I hope things are. Don't look at me. I know I'm always behaving. I know that. So
Dave will like that.
What
David T put in.
Well, if people are ready, I can go ahead and attach the pictures.
Yeah, he was in the Navy at the time when that happened. Yep.
So are we ready,
go ahead.
for the pictures? Okay, so go ahead, Mike.
All righty.
Okay. You share screen. We got to go through this step process here.
Okay.
All righty. So the first thing that you're going to see.
Oh,
Dave's got to do his little.
No, you're on a slightly left. There we go.
There we go.
Okay, so
it should already be up.
Okay, it is. So starting off, this is literally the first thing you see when you embark.
Beautiful.
When you come up the gangway,
you're walking on deck 3.
Yeah, coming in on deck 5.
No, this is
deck 3.
3.
You're right, deck 3. Wrong ship. When you're coming in, you walk across the gangway, and as you enter, what Disney does is they announce each party as they're coming in. Like, we want to welcome the Smith party or Smith family. And you walk into what is called the Grand Hall. And this is the Grand Hall. It's actually 3 stories in height. You can see in the background one of the stairways, and that is the chandelier up at the top, and it changes colors and does all kinds of different things. One of the things, the Wish is pretty much identical. One of the things that the Wish did that they did not do on the Treasure was at midnight, they have like a show with the lights. If you look up at the top, they're like stars, do all different kind of effects.
They call it the Good Night Kiss.
Yeah, the Good Night Kiss.
So they don't do that. They don't do that on the Treasure. But this lobby is incredible, and of course it's Aladdin themed. So you've got all the wonderful colors that you would normally like. If you were to go into the Morocco Pavilion, for example, at Epcot, it's that type of design and coloration and things of that sort. And it's got a statue. And did you take a picture of the statue?
Yes.
Okay, so you'll see that later. of the flying carpet with Aladdin and Jasmine on it. And then there's like a little, on another one of the tables, there's like a little magic lamp. So it's got all the little things pertaining to Aladdin in the lobby. So it's pretty awesome.
And actually, we witnessed one of them, but they had 3 weddings on board the ship that were done right here. There was a 4th wedding, which was done at Castaway Cay.
Yeah, so basically on all the port days where most of the people were off the ship is when they would have the weddings, and they'd set up the seating and everything in here. Now, the one we witnessed was interesting because the bride and groom wore black. Everyone else was wearing white. And when they walked down the aisle, when they were done, they played the Darth Vader theme.
Yeah.
Okay. I expected that.
They were Star Wars. That was a whole Star Wars theme kind of thing. Yeah. So that was pretty awesome. So, and then they would have later, you'll see one of the lounges. We used to walk by the Skipper's Lounge, which is an open lounge. And that's where they would have everybody go for the reception. So you can get married. I'm sure it's not cheap. I think someone told me once it's $5,000.
Well, I know one wedding that we witnessed, they had something along the line of about 30 guests. So,
right. Well, you're paying for obviously the guests to go on the cruise.
Yep.
I'm sure they're paying part of it, but you pay, I think, an extra $5,000 or something for the venue. But that's actually not that bad. And then
they can run for about $3,000 to $8,000 for most cruise ships.
For most cruise ships, okay. Yeah. So pretty awesome. So but as I said, you walk in, when you first go on the ship, you walk in onto deck 3. First thing you see is the grand hall. And let's see what Michael's got next here. Oh, here's part of the decor. Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I'm watching just to see when it pops. There we go. This is one of the columns, and this is the decor on the columns.
And you can see the Aladdin theme.
The Moroccan kind of theme. So this is how the whole thing is decorated. It's like you've got this on each of the columns. It's pretty awesome. Oh, and then, okay, so for our cabin, Michael jumped to the cabin. We were in a veranda suite or veranda cabin, okay, with the balcony. So when we came in at night, they would do little towel animals.
Mm-hmm.
So Michael's got a couple pictures I think he left in there of the
I think
towel
it
animals.
might have been just this one.
This was, you just kept the whale?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so the next one is a picture of, well, let it come up. Yeah. This is Captain Hook. This is on the stern of the ship, and we're actually taking this picture. We went on a tour, and you'll see it a little bit later, of the Coco restaurant. And when they opened up the blinds, this is actually looking out onto the stern where you have Captain Hook and Peter Pan. I couldn't get Peter Pan in this. They're actually 3D, and they're kind of leaning off of the stern of the vessel.
Yeah, so it's pretty awesome. Yeah.
That is pretty cool.
Okay, so the next scene you see, this is up on deck 11. This is Pirates Night, and the Jumbotron, and it is literally a Jumbotron, where those people are milling around. They set up deck chairs, rows and rows of deck chairs, and they start from about 9 in the morning till probably 1 at night, and they're showing movies all the time up there. And what you see, the tube going around from the stack, that's called the Aqua Mouse, and that is a rafting type of ride that you sit on, like this flat type of raft, and I think it'll hold either 2 or 4 people.
2, I think.
And you zip around on a ribbon of water, and you actually go off the edge of the ship and back. So we did not go on it.
We opted not to do that. We were very busy, and so we didn't really think to do that.
But there's a lot of people doing it.
Now, this is also where they have the sail away party.
Yes.
So this is key to like their big events, Pirates Night, Sail Away, and so it's pretty awesome because as I said, there's usually all kinds of pools in here. They've covered those up.
Yes.
So this is where the family pools are that you enjoy during your cruise.
Nice.
Here's the fireworks that they do at Pirates Night. So that'll be coming in just a second here. I've got mine so I can see. There we go.
Yeah. So Disney apparently is the only cruise line that shoots fireworks off of the ship.
Yes.
And Pirates Night is usually one of the at sea days or an earlier departure.
Yes.
And what they do is they're not in port, they're at sea cruising. It's 10 o'clock at night ship time. They slow the vessel down to a crawl, and it's about a 10-minute fireworks show. Now, it is not, I'll be honest, it is not on par with what you see at the Magic Kingdom. It really can't be.
No, they don't have
but
the facilities.
it is pretty spectacular for what they do. They've told us stories that other cruise ships will actually, who are on the same itinerary as a Disney cruise, will actually go out of their way to be close enough to see the fireworks show for their own guests.
I know a lot of people like going on deck during that time too. Usually it's packed up above. If you get to see
absolutely, without question, packed.
So if you have a veranda and if you do it correctly, you can watch it from your veranda.
Yes. If you're on the and I believe it would be on the starboard. If your veranda is on the starboard side of the ship,
yes,
that's where you're going to see it.
Yep.
And you definitely can sit out on your veranda and get a pretty good view. Your best view is going to be where we were, which again was up on deck 11.
Were we on 12 or 11?
I think we might have been up on 12.
I think we were on 12 because the party that we were sailing with, he's a platinum, and he has found over the course of time that 12 seems to be a better deck to view things from. And
now again, this is
a little less crowded than 11.
And again, this is on the Wish category of ships. So at this time, Wish and Treasure, Destiny will be the same. I can't speak for the older Disney ships.
Right.
Do they have a walk around deck?
No.
You cannot walk completely around the ship on any of the decks.
Yes.
Well, you can, but yes and no.
It's zigzag. You have to go around things. It's not a straight walkway. You know,
I've used that walk around before and seen the fireworks from there too.
Right. If you go up, I think on the Treasure, I think if we went up to deck 15, you could do a walk around, but down on 11, no, because you literally, it will take you back into the interior of the ship on both the forward and aft. So
let's see what we got. Okay. Well, you got these in an interesting order here. Well, so is this Jamaica? This
is Falmouth, Falmouth, Jamaica. I have a couple of shots here. We stayed in the port area here. That's the Treasure in your background. They have a very interesting shopping center here. They have a lot of different shops, a lot of jewelry stores, a lot of what I call souvenir shops.
Right.
Here, let me go to the next.
You got another shot of it?
Yeah.
Oh, here's the ship.
Yeah.
From the shopping area. So basically, this one, as I said, we got off, we walked around. It was pretty much your standard, what I call shopping area. There wasn't anything, we've been on numerous cruises, so there wasn't anything that jumped out at me. As I said, here you're looking for your gemstones. You're looking for your just souvenirs. They do have talks on the ship where they talk about the ports and the shopping in the ports and their recommended shops. And I would definitely, if you're into shopping, listen to those because you want to know which shops work with the cruise ship should you have any issues once you leave the port. So,
And of course, everything here is duty and tax free. And assuming you don't go over your minimums, you're good to go. But it was a very, I mean, it's not huge, but it's a very nice, probably one of the nicer port areas directly off of the ship. You basically had to do transportation to go to like Dunn River Falls or any of the other what I call tourist attractions.
yeah. Now this is the town where Usain Bolt was born and raised.
Yes.
They make a big deal out of that. I mean,
Yes.
the guy is a
As they
national,
should.
the guy is a national hero.
Yeah, as they should.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Back on the ship.
Back on the ship.
Okay.
A little. So here's
stop for a
okay.
minute. When we went on the Wish, now it was only a 3-day cruise, but one of our complaints about the Wish was they didn't have many character meet and greets. We were kind of disappointed. When we went on the Treasure, they must have listened to people because, and we found one of the best areas to stand actually for a while after dinner was it was on deck 4, right in front of the guest services area. And I think that in the course of a 45-minute time frame, we must have seen at least and interacted with 12 characters.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
So if anybody from like Belle came out, and Belle was all excited about what I was wearing and the purse I had, and she talked to me. And then there was Princess Navarre and Tiana, and then there was Prince Navarre and Princess Tiana, and then there was who came out? Snow White came out.
Yeah.
We had, of course, the traditional
Goofy
Fab Five.
came out.
We had Goofy.
Donald.
I think you at one point on that deck could see Daisy, Donald, Mickey, Minnie, Goofy, Pluto. And they have meet and greets with all of them at different times. You've of course got to wait in your lines, but I didn't think the lines were normally as bad as what you get to in the parks. So it was. I thought this aspect of your Disney experience was phenomenal.
Well, and one thing, of course, is they have a lot of what I call photo ops, where they are taking pictures regularly of the meet and greets. Now, what you're looking at here is the same grand ballroom or grand area,
The Grand Hall
that you saw in the first picture. This is from a different angle. So what you're looking at, the blue curtain, is the stage, and they actually have performances there. Bands play, people will dance there. All the way at the top, you have like an area where on the first day when we were boarding, you had Aladdin and Jasmine up there waving at people and, saying hi and stuff like that. So you'll have characters occasionally up there waving at people. And again, this is where the weddings were held. And the bride actually came down the spiral staircase.
Yep, the grand staircase.
Right. And the wedding party was up on stage.
Okay.
Yeah. So this, as I said, the Grand Hall is pretty awesome. We actually stood out there for, I would say, a few hours from here, if you combine all the time I spent in there. And then the shops are right off of deck 3, the bougie shops.
Deck 3 and deck 4.
Deck 3 and deck 5.
And 5.
So deck 3 is what I call the bougie shops. That's where you would find your Pandora and your jewelry and things of that sort. And then deck 5 is Mickey's Main Sale.
Right.
That is the primary shop for the souvenirs, the T-shirts, all the other different. And of course, we bought our share of inaugural merch, but I was focusing on tumblers and mugs and pins, and I bought the Keel coin, and I bought, I think, 1 T-shirt. So we tried to limit ourselves because we had limited space in our suitcase. So we're focusing mostly on things I know I could fit in there. So
one of the things that I noticed on the ship is there are obviously, 2 things. Number one, there is no casino on any Disney ship.
No.
And as expected, this is a Disney ship. There are a lot of kids, but the kids' activities are so high level that you rarely saw many kids because they've got literally half of a deck 2, that's dedicated to anyone from probably about 2 years old up to 18 years old.
Yeah, Oceaneer Club usually. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
and they have them separated.
Yeah.
So let's look
Hey,
at
Jill.
that.
Yes.
Hey, Jill.
Yes.
David T said you could have purchased a suitcase so you could get some
And
more.
yes, I could have. One of the people that I traveled with said she actually had to do that because she had friends that wanted her to pick up a whole bunch of stuff on her last Disney cruise, and so she had to go do that. But no, we didn't want to do that. Being older people, there's only so much we can lug behind us without tweaking our shoulders and backs.
Yeah.
And let's just say that Disney knows that people are likely to do that. So you're probably going to pay more for a suitcase on a Disney ship or at a Disney resort than you will at most stores like Walmart's, Costco's, whatever. So
yes, they have.
Be prepared.
I think I saw at least 15 suitcases out in Mickey's main sale at one end of the shop when I walked through it. So
this is the statue again. This is
I love that one.
This is in the main hall that you saw just
it's in front of the staircase.
In front of the spiral staircase.
That's the floating one.
That's the floating one. Aladdin and Jasmine on the magic carpet.
Yep.
Which is and they do light it in the evening.
Oh, okay.
So it is quite spectacular, and that you're kind of greeted with that upon embarkation also, because it's like literally in front of you. This was a few days into the trip where I was going around and taking pictures.
We took advantage on one of the port days to walk around and take some pictures, basically.
Because we've been to a couple of these ports before.
I hear you. I'm already starting to do that.
Yeah.
So we didn't really see a need to get off and fight the crowds. We wanted to enjoy the ship.
Yes. And David T made a point. Jeannie's lamp is to the right on a pedestal. Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Okay.
All right. Next one. All right.
Okay.
This is from Castaway Key.
This is Castaway Key. This is a shot as we are heading over to the beach of the ship.
So here you get an idea of how big the ship is.
Yeah.
And if you look carefully, you can see on the aft, you can see Captain Hook.
Yeah.
And Peter Pan on the other side.
Okay, this is our balcony. We had what was called a partially obstructed, and it really wasn't by any means because we were forward and just the curvature of the structure, but we had plenty of view. This again is in Castaway, looking over into the bay area from the from our cabin.
Right. Now we chose the guarantee category, which is a category that's less expensive, and it guarantees you your category or an upgrade to something more. Okay, depending on how full the ship is. So for me, they said they couldn't guarantee a full view. You might get an obstructed view, but you can see the obstructed view. There's no issues with it, really.
Yeah, because I was taking this, and I was literally taking this from the corner of the deck. So that's why you kind of get a little idea of what they call obstructed. Straight out, it wasn't an issue. Now the deck, the veranda was a little bit smaller, but it was just the two of us. Yeah. So it had two chaise. I would say two chaise lounges. So we were able to sit two chairs.
Yeah.
We were able to sit out there and enjoy the view. On one of the sea days, we were watching these birds that were literally following us. I mean, for most of the day, and they were fishing because you would have like these flying fish and you could see them coming out of the wake from the ship, and these birds would dive bomb to try to get these fish, but they they were like following the ship, and they would land and rest on the ship, and then go back to doing.
And we were in the middle of the ocean, so they
Yep.
know we know they were following us. And I looked them up, and believe it or not, I think they were called boobies.
Yep.
BOOBYS.
Yep. That's
Yep.
it.
Yeah,
They tend to do that. That's
that's them.
But it was fun to watch them, and they were, they would kind of eye us, sitting out there enjoying what they were doing, and it was very peaceful and restful, and tended to want to fall asleep.
Yeah, you could easily take it if you don't mind sleeping in your chair. You could easily take a nap out there.
Yeah. I love that bay. It has so much in that bay for that.
Now here's our our room was decorated in Kanto, so
Okay.
you can see
Oh,
that this
nice.
is the mural behind our bed.
nice.
Yeah, this is
That's
a
beautiful.
whole
I see.
wall portrait behind the headboard of our bed, and the bed is very comfortable. It was a king size bed. They have a in our cabin, you could have had a third person because the couch makes out into a regular conventional twin bed. Some of the cabins, or a lot of them, have a fourth which comes out of the ceiling.
Yeah.
And it'll be made up for you by your cabin steward while you're at dinner. And then in the morning, they will retract both of them. So you just have the bed and a couch.
Now, just as a note from what I was seeing, and I guess I was so busy I didn't really pay attention, but the carpets on the Treasure are incredibly gorgeous.
Yeah.
And the carpets are themed, I think, similar to how the rooms are themed. So you'll have designs and things that go along with your room decor.
Yep.
Nice.
So, yep. So
So
let's
now
go to the
we're
next
going
one.
to get to the Haunted Mansion.
My
Oh, here we
favorite
go.
place.
That's,
I could have lived there.
Oh, wait, no,
Mike
we're
was
going to
talking
get
about-
to
Before
we're
Haunted
going to get
Mansion,
to
there's
the
some
food. So prepare.
oh,
I-
you just got Richard's attention.
Yeah.
I will tell you that the food on the Disney ships, at least the two that we have been on, is comparable to, it's top notch.
Yeah.
There's no skimping. Like, for example, this was the day of embarkation, and this was my dinner, which was rack of lamb.
Yep.
And
So this was 1923 on
Yeah,
night one.
1923.
We
I
did
love
3
that.
nights in 1923, which
Yeah.
to me was the best choice in terms of what we
yeah,
could eat.
1923 has the theming of a
Old Hollywood.
old Hollywood steakhouse.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like, it's very comfortable type of settings. It's kind of like what you would expect from,
The Brown Derby, maybe.
the Brown
Similar-
Derby.
similar
Yeah,
to
very
Brown Derby.
similar to Brown Derby at Hollywood
Here's
Studios.
the menu. Here's what I had. So, like, for example, appetizers. I had the burrata mozzarella cheese and prosciutto di Parma,
Ooh.
cranberry and sunflower seed with with cheese, and then I also had the 4-cheese tricolor tortellini
Yep.
with Meyer lemon. That's what I had.
You
I
sound
don't
like
have-
you've had those before, Richard.
Every single one of them.
And Michael, of course, he tried to make sure he had his roughage every night, so he would focus on the salads.
Yeah.
So I think you probably had the Napa baby romaine lettuce salad, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
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 And I
And
had
then
the rack.
You had we both
We
had
both had the rack of
both
lamb.
had the Italian flat parsley and rosemary crusted rack of lamb. That's what you're
Yep.
looking at there.
Rosemary
That
crusted.
has
Yep.
Dauphinoise potatoes. They have roasted petite turnips, carrot, and zucchini, and then Zinfandel rosemary sauce. So that's
Yeah.
what you're looking
I
at there.
agree, David. Also.
Yeah, but they also had salmon fillet, they had green circle chicken, they had a kabocha and butternut squash, they had a filet mignon, which I'm sure that the meat lovers would have loved, shell tacos, and a pasta dish. So
And we found out that because we got dessert off of it a couple of times, the kids menu, they have some pretty darn good stuff on the kids menu.
here was our dessert.
Yeah.
We had I don't think you took pictures.
No, well, wait, let me see.
What's your next one before we We can click on it and see.
Haunted.
Oh, you
Nope.
did have
The dessert. Oh,
That's a dessert, yes. I know that I ordered either 2 or 3 things every night. Okay.
Yeah.
I splurged.
Yeah.
Usually always had the sundae unless it was weird.
It,
So I
it
had
comes
the
with
Hollywood
cost,
Hills.
but it doesn't cost. So
Yeah, Hollywood Hills hot chocolate fudge sundae, which was vanilla ice cream, fudge brownie bites, fresh whipped cream, and glazed cherry. This night I had 3. I went splurge. I had the Burbank blueberry lemon Bavarian cream,
ooh,
which was vanilla bean, basically ice cream with lemon,
That's-
and it was a dried raspberry meringue. And
okay.
then I had the Atwater Fuji apple cheesecake tart,
Okay.
which was caramelized apple cinnamon cheesecake rolled oat crumble. I don't know what you had, Michael. What was this?
I don't remember.
That looks like a
I don't either.
cheesecake, maybe.
That might have been dessert from a different night, though.
Yeah.
Possible.
Yeah. So anyway, that was night 1. So let's
I
see what
still
he's
want to
done
know
here.
where the pizza is because I need my 24/7 pizza.
Okay.
I'm like
first of all-
Cherie's husband James. We like our 24/7 pizza.
So let me
Well-
start on day 1. As I said, we went through the lobby. We showed you what we saw when we came on. We went straight into the Haunted Mansion bar. And then from
Oh.
there, we made a beeline to deck 11, which is where they have the different things that you can eat that are the fast food type service.
Yes. And that's where the
So-
pizza would be.
That's where they have the pizza, Dave.
Yes.
Now the pizza is
That's where you
only-
find me.
Yeah.
It's not 24 hours though. It's they're open until midnight, which is better than what it was on the Treasure.
Well, I just make sure I get enough pizza to last me through the night till the next day.
Well,
Yeah.
one thing you can do is let me put a little bit of a caveat on that.
Yeah.
You can get room service
Yes.
24/7, and
Yeah.
you can get pizza and pretty much most things, not all, but most things you want any time of the day or night via room service.
Right.
But the
Make you
actual
harsh.
like pizza location, they closed at midnight.
Yeah.
They also have soft serve ice cream up there. They have Mickey's Barbecue where they had barbecue ribs,
Oh.
tri-tip. They had brisket, barbecued brisket. They had a one station which was burgers and hot dogs.
That's Goofy's Grill,
Goofy's Grill.
Goofy's Grill. Yeah.
They had Mexican.
with Donald's Cantina, so
Donald's
you could have your tacos and they had one of our friends, his son loved to make this bowl.
Yeah.
It was all spicy, so he could make it like almost like a custom
Oh, the
bowl.
acai bowl. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen them
So,
before.
and then of course there's Daisy's Pizza is the name of the pizza place, and then they had Minnie's Delights, which was the ice cream. And the ice cream was phenomenal in that you went up, they served you, but you saw the selection of flavors and you told them what you wanted. So every time I had ice cream, it was usually a swirl. So I'd either do the chocolate and vanilla. One time I had banana and chocolate. I think they had. They have specialty flavors that are available on some of the days.
Right.
Strawberry,
Okay,
banana.
here's a question for you. David
What's
T
that?
says it was rated the best barbecue at sea. So how good, how actually good is the barbecue?
is so
It
good.
is phenomenal. If they were open
Yeah.
for dinner,
Yeah.
I might have gone there for dinner.
Yeah.
He is right. I've been on a lot of ships with Jill, and they are without a doubt. They rival probably some of the best barbecue restaurants that we've had here in Vegas. They don't skimp. Like I said, you're getting brisket, you're getting burnt ends, tri-tip, ribs, hush puppies. Let's see what else they have. Oh, collard greens, and a couple of other things. French fries. So they, I could have eaten there every day, and but everything else was good too.
Yeah.
We had like one day
And
we just decided we wanted something light, so we went and had our hot dogs there at Goofy's Grill.
At the
And I want to bring up something Harlan said too, because I know I know a lot of people tend to be picky eaters sometimes. This is quite true that most of your main decks have some, if you're like me, who's a picky eater, who will eat some things, but enjoy my hot dogs, hamburgers, fries, you can pretty much find that on one of the main decks.
Right.
Mhm.
And as I said, the
Disney's
Wish
no
and the
different.
Treasure definitely have that at Goofy's Grill. You could have your hamburger, you could have your hot dog. The
Yep.
one thing I have not seen, and I did not see this on the icon, there was nothing equivalent to Mickey's Barbecue.
No,
Oh,
Okay.
absolutely
Really?
not.
No.
Yeah, if you're into barbecue,
some of the select menus.
yeah,
Yeah.
if you're into barbecue, you're on the right ship. And I will tell you, it is very popular. So be prepared that you're going to, especially around lunchtime, you're going to be standing in a bit of a line.
Not a huge line.
It does move. They are extremely efficient. It does
Yes.
move quick. But it is Mickey's Barbecue, especially, is very popular. The hamburger hot dog place is, in fact, all of them are pretty
The
much.
longest line was for the ice cream.
Yeah, yes.
The thing is with those also, you can order ahead of time for the food. So you can, pick it up instead of having to go through the line.
Yes, you could.
Yes, you could.
It
But
helps just a little bit.
It does help. And then also on the deck, all the way forward, again on deck 11, is Marceline Market.
And that's essentially your buffet.
Right. We went there for breakfast.
Every day we did that for breakfast. We never went to the dining room for breakfast on this ship. So
everyone loves the chicken tenders. Yes, David T. Everyone loves it from Disney.
There was a lot of good choices for.
And what amazed me,
breakfast, they had eggs Benedict.
Yeah, and it was done right.
And it was not horrible. So
yeah. I like all you can eat really there.
Yeah, and they have the omelet station where you go up, you order it, and then they paid you and you go and pick it up. So they had omelets made to order. They had they had the Mickey waffles and pancakes, where they called the kids station. But hey, I was there a couple of times to get Mickey waffles, and and then they had cold cereals if you wanted them. The one thing here too that I liked is the soft drinks. There's no upcharge. You can have, in fact, up on deck 11, they've got the regular soda dispenser where you go up and you get as many of the drinks you want, and their cups are made from bamboo, so it's fully recyclable.
And they last a little longer than the paper cups. A lot.
Okay, I got a question here.
Okay,
David brings up an interesting point.
Well. If you like
now, I know you're not.
If you
can they actually do that? Where you get? I mean, I know Marceline Market is on the ship.
You would put the.
Can you actually get that and have them do that?
I'm sure you probably could because it is the same deck. You've got the Mickey's Barbecue and stuff is aft, and the Marceline Market is forward. So you go into the forward area, you get what you want, you take it back, and I'm sure they'll do that for you.
Also, another good one if you want a different kind of drink, it really changed it up, was going to the soda fountain, getting a root beer, which is always there. They use Barks, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
And then you can walk over to the ice cream shop, and they will put ice cream on top of your root beer and make a float.
Yes, so you have a float.
Oh, yes. That's good because Barks root beer is good for a float.
There you
go. So basically, in the forward section where you have Marceline Market, on the other side of Marceline Market, you have the sweet shop, which is where all the regular ice cream that's complimentary is soft serve, but you can get all different types in the sweet shop.
Yeah, jumbo sweets, and they have the exotic treats, the chocolate covered strawberries, that kind of stuff. They have a whole selection of gelato, and they have a whole selection of sorbet.
But those are the photo opportunity there that you get to have with Nick Wilde and Judy Hopps. So
yes,
and those are an extra charge.
Right, that is right off of Marceline Market.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. So okay.
All right. So what is this? We didn't describe this.
This looks like
steak.
Prime rib.
So this was. I don't think you took pictures every night. So this wasn't. This is not in Marvel. This is this in Coco? I'm trying to see. Look at the plate. Sometimes you can tell from the plate.
I'm not sure. This could have also been in 23.
1923.
But somebody else's dish.
Yeah.
So let's. Okay, here's this is an appetizer.
Mm-hmm.
This is shrimp.
That has to be
This
cocoa.
isn't- okay.
That almost has to be
Yeah,
Yeah, this
cocoa.
looks
This
like-
is cocoa.
That looks
this
good.
is
Has to be
like
cocoa.
plates. So yeah,
That
so
actually looks
cocoa
good.
was-
Oh yes, this is
This is the Abuelita Elena's shrimp diabla. This is sauteed garlic shrimp, sliced fingerling potatoes, and I asked him for the sauce not to be on it, and I could do that, so that was fine with me because I'm sensitive to spices.
so
that's the appetizer. Now this was
a
also Coco's. No.
osobuco.
No.
Oh, this is your osobuco.
Yes.
Okay.
Cocoa.
So this was trying to think what night this was because we didn't take pictures every night. So
Yeah.
Michael had the osobuco.
No, that is cocoa. I see the.
Yes, you're right. It is cocoa.
So maybe
I
that
see
was
the
night
cars in
2.
the corner.
This might have been
of the
night.
plate.
This could have been the first night in cocoa.
Different night. Yeah.
Well, I had the roasted beef tenderloin in cocoa. So that wouldn't have been that. And I'm looking at your choices here.
It's either could it no.
It would have been the other night.
It's a shank. It's a
It's a
shank.
shank.
So you think this might be the
Potatoes.
lamb.
Could have been
Could
a
that,
shank.
could that be with the
Well, let's
au
see
jus sauce?
This would have been,
The red.
I'm looking here.
Tinkerbell does.
Was this the
Yeah,
ribeye?
well,
This
not
was-
everybody does,
this
Harlan.
the
Not
ribeye?
everybody eats seafood.
Some
No.
people like it more than
I mean,
others.
I do. I eat seafood,
This is
but
braised.
not everybody does.
Well, I was looking at night 2. We only ate 2 nights in cocoa.
Right.
So, but anyway, it's we had
Whatever. It was
we
delicious.
had lamb whenever we could because lamb is obviously more pricey and harder to find,
Yes.
and it was everything was delicious. I don't think we had any complaints of anything we were
Oh wait a
eating.
minute. Was this the oxtail?
That could look like an oxtail if I
Yes,
had.
I think this was
I
oxtail.
know he did order oxtail.
Yeah,
at one point,
this was
yes.
oxtail.
So yeah,
Yep.
it
That's
could
what
be
it
that the
was.
menu online does not have that as an option.
Okay, so moving right along.
Here's
Okay,
the-
so this is
Here it
cocoa.
is.
This is the dining room.
Now, this is when we were taking our tour. We took this shot. Remember how we took that shot of
Yep.
leaning over and looking at Captain Hook? We turned around and took a panoramic view of the restaurant from that viewpoint.
Yeah, it's a
So this
beautiful
is
restaurant.
back to front.
Yeah, and this just giving you an idea looking down one of the rows. This is a quite large dining room. Goes basically from port to aft, and but you can see how it is set up. So
Yeah.
it is definitely set up as what they call family style. Everybody is together. Now the tables are separated, but it gives the effect everybody's you're supposed to be, the theming is that you're one big happy family,
Yep.
that everybody is from the village and you all dine together. So it very much has that feel.
And night 1 is the beginning of the festival as you're about to celebrate your dead ones
Day
that
of the Dead.
that you're honoring.
I got a question. Harlan brings up a good point. How much
Can't see how
space do you actually to move around there? How much space is there actually to move around? Because it looks,
Okay, well,
it does look like
it-
it does look like it's tight space
Right.
for them.
Well, let me ask you this question because
Yeah.
it's going to be tight in any of the restaurants because this is a dinner show.
Right.
When you go to a dinner show, do you really get up and move around and do things? I mean, other than to get up to
You
go to
sit
the
in one spot
restroom.
because you want to see the entertainment.
I will
Exactly.
say that there's plenty of room for the servers and their
Yeah.
assistants to move around. We never felt like they were on top of us at any time, but they're always there, refreshing like we had iced tea, so they're always bringing
Yeah.
you another iced
Your
tea
refills,
before you can finish
Yeah.
yours. So
Yeah,
actually,
this is a dinner show, so you're not
Right.
really meant to.
Yeah.
now
And I
will
agree.
say-
I mean, my thing is though, how much space? I mean, are you like elbow to elbow? Because
no,
I mean,
No.
I like
No.
dinner shows, but I've been in dinner shows where you're almost elbow to elbows, and I don't quite like
No.
that. I mean, I like a little space. I do
Oh,
like
no.
a little space between my sitting.
Dave,
No,
you
instead
are-
they have two
Who is
seats, and then you have
calling?
the space and open. If you look at the picture, there's even video. It even shows it a little bit. There's a space in between every two seats.
Mike's getting a phone call. He just needs to tell the person he'll call him back. So hold
Yeah.
on. Friends coming in from out of town. So
Dave, I would not worry about that with Disney Cruise Line. They're usually pretty good with that. They
no,
keep
there's
things close.
you definitely have
you get room.
elbow room in here. I never felt
get
like I was so tight
Okay.
sitting.
Well, and like I said, most of the dinner shows that I've been through, have been dinner shows on land. Like the medieval, I've done. Oh God, what? Couple of the detective shows down on International Drive, and my problem was you just felt crowded.
Yeah.
Even sitting.
Yeah.
I mean, I
And you
agree with you.
can.
I wouldn't move during the show, but just if I had to get up and leave for emergency or for some reason, I felt like I bumped into somebody.
No, here you could definitely get up.
Yeah,
and
you
go to the
definitely could
restaurant.
get up. Now, I would say everybody getting up at the same time, it might be, but if you're getting up because you need to walk out for a few minutes, it's not an issue. Now, of the three restaurants, 1923, which has the Walt Disney side and the Roy Disney side, is not a show. It is like strictly going to a fine dining restaurant for your meal. The Marvel one, which I did not take a picture of, but the Marvel one and the Coco one are shows. Right. So you're going to get a show, and it's kind of broken up. They have like the show while they're taking your order, and before your meal really arrives. There's no real show during the main part of your meal. And then as you're moving into the desserts, they have the second half of the show. And that was true both on the Marvel restaurant and on the Coco.
Right. And we had a party of 7, so we were seated each time at a table for 8.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
and then another thing is, I think this ship does not have Animator's Palette, does it?
No, Animator's Palette is only on the Fantasy. I know
it's on every ship but this one.
Oh, is it? Because for some reason, my friend, the fellow who's the Platinum Sailor, his Fantasy is his second favorite ship after the Wish and third favorite ship after the Wish and Treasure because of Animator's Palette.
It's different Animator's palettes, but I believe almost every ship except for this one has one, and then I think the Destiny doesn't either. But
no, the Destiny does not have Animator's
nor
palette.
does Wish.
Yeah, nor does Wish.
No.
Yeah,
but favorite restaurant, by the way, Animator's Palette.
They have, what is it, Paleo?
They have the two upscale restaurants that you have to pay extra for are Palo and Enchante. Now those are on, I believe, deck. I want to say deck 14 because they are considered adult restaurants because they are the upscale. And the theming on deck 14 for those restaurants is Beauty and the Beast.
Okay.
So Enchante is supposed to be a expensive international fare restaurant. It is considered the hoo-ha restaurant on the ship. Palo is the what Italian. I call the steakhouse and Italian restaurant.
It's really good Italian food,
So that's the difference there. So if you want to spend a little bit more money, although I found that the food on the Treasure was phenomenal, I didn't feel I needed to spend extra money. So
I didn't have to pay extra money, and I got to go to it because I'm platinum. So
and you didn't have, so you got platinum. It was one of the perks you got as a platinum cruiser. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. But see, my friends like to dress in their shorts. He's
there
very
it is. Mr.
casual.
David told most of it. And then that's the 4 ships that I like.
Yeah. So
because of if you're just considering food.
Yeah.
And the show that comes with it. Yeah.
So so before because probably you leave here and go to the haunted bar, which of course No,
You just chased somebody out, Richard.
Well, no, I've
got some more food, I believe.
You got some more food?
Oh gosh. Yeah.
There's some more
I've
food.
been on too many Disney cruise ships.
This is a steak, I can tell.
No, this is not a steak.
That's not a steak?
This is the lamb shank.
That's the lamb shank. Oh, you're right. There's the shank.
Lamb.
I see it.
There's the lamb shank. So if I was to go through obviously we showed you what we got the first night. The Marvel, we got Dylan Meyer lemon marinated shrimp as an appetizer. They also had sauteed crimini and oyster mushrooms. I believe I got that. Their soups were incredible. They had cream potato soup, and they had white cheddar and broccolini soup. And then there I got the rosemary roasted beef tenderloin. I believe you got the same thing.
If you ever see the butternut squash soup that they have, or the carrot soup, just get it because
I saw it, but I think
please get them.
I didn't get it, but people at our table did. Now, of course, the first night of Marvel, the key dessert for us is the quantum key lime pie.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yes, and I also got the Pim Donut Sundae, which was dulce de leche ice cream, pecan blondie, caramel fudge sauce, chocolate glazed donut, and whipped cream. Yeah. So that was what I got.
The key lime pie. I think
key lime pie was to die for. Yes, Michael got 2 because that's his dessert. And then we talked about.
Standard says that you can order as many of those as you want, so you can order 3 to 4 desserts.
Yeah. Now, see, at Coco's the first night, I don't remember if I got the short rib, which is one of the things that they really recommend on there, or the Pasilla Brown sugar rubbed roasted pork tenderloin.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there I got the Miguel's Remember Me Sundae, which was cookies and cream ice cream, Oreo cookies, chocolate fudge sauce, and whipped cream.
That sounds good.
So to me, if it wasn't a weird Sunday, I always got it.
And the thing too, with Disney, since you're going between 3 different dining rooms, your wait staff, your servers, etc., follow you. So you go from dining to dining, and your servers go with you.
That way, they memorize what your allergies are.
Right.
Yes.
Anything that you like or don't dislike, they'll go towards.
Let's wait. This is like the last night, so I'm going to. 1923 night 2 was Pirates night for us. And that particular night, let's see, what do we have here? We had, I don't think I ate very many of the appetizers because it tended to be more on the spicy side.
Yeah.
What did I have on there? Here's where they had the seafood. So they had like Jack's Treasure of the Seas, which was shrimp and sauteed scallops.
Yes.
They had jerk chicken. Here's lamb shank, Michael. That you were showing.
So
that was Pirates night. We had the lamb shank.
Pirates night then.
That was a rosemary lamb shank braised in a red wine sauce, served with buttered green beans and parsnip.
Actually, I think that's the picture that's up right now.
Oh, that's what this is? Here we go. So this is Pirates night.
Pretty good, like it. Yeah.
So that we had that food.
Yep.
And then dessert wise, what did I have? I think they had a fruit cobbler with vanilla ice cream. I got that. Yep. I did not opt for the Pirates Treasure Sundae because it had pineapple and coconut ice cream. So I opted not to get that. So I think that night I only had 1 dessert.
Yeah.
And then Marvel night 2. Now, interesting with Marvel, the first night is the same show that they have on the Wish.
Yes.
It is the quantum. You have a quantum piece of tech core sitting on your table, and when they tell you to, you're supposed to push certain buttons, and it helps Ant-Man and the Wasp go through the tasks that they have on hand. And so it's kind of an entertaining show. I won't tell you too much about it. I want to save people some surprise. Yeah. And then night 2 was a little bit different show. It was more of the Guardians.
Yeah, it was Guardians of the Galaxy.
But what I liked about that show was they had pictures and things that showed up as you were eating. That were like they had like a quiz. How much did you know about each of the Marvel heroes and villains? Yeah. So that kept you entertained, and there was like all kinds of interesting scenes from like the movies and things. And so that was kind of here's what we've done with the Marvel universe. So that was quite neat. So on Marvel night 2, I had for appetizer porcini spaghetti, which was a porcini mushroom, Swiss and fontina cheese, garlic, thyme, wine sauce.
Yeah.
That was really good. I had the dill lemon marinated shrimp salad. I had lobster bisque. It was yummy.
Yes, I like the lobster.
Okay.
bisque.
And then for an entree, I had beef Wellington. This was the night we had the beef
we
Wellington.
both had that.
Yeah, we both had the beef Wellington, but they did have a Dijon herb crusted rack of lamb. They had peri peri chicken. They had a wild mushroom sweet onion strudel. They had a salmon fillet. They had a soba noodle bowl. So it was a little bit of everything there. And then for desserts, I had the Marvel Sundae, chocolate ice cream, chopped chocolate wafers, chocolate sauce, and whipped ice cream. And the chocolate decadence, which was really rich, was a bitter chocolate cream truffle sauce and chocolate sauce.
Okay.
So that was that night.
Lots of chocolate on that one.
Yes, lots of chocolate. Thursday night we had at sea, and that was at second night of Coco's. Let's see here. What did I have on here? Didn't have as many of I didn't have the appetizers because, again, I think they were tending to be more on the spicy side.
Yep.
Let's see. What did we have? Oh, I had the ribeye de Corte Grande that night.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a ribeye with a double baked potato, buttered broccoli, honey roasted carrots, and tamarind port wine sauce. And then that's the night where I said, wait, you have a Mickey ice cream bar on the kids menu.
Yeah.
I want that. So I did that.
And so did like two other people there.
Two other people at our table
Yeah.
said, Mickey ice cream bar. Okay, so now we're on to the next one, which is the surf and turf. This is the Captain's Gala dinner.
Oh, yes.
So you order your lobster, and I saw on the lighter note menu grilled sirloin steak. So
Yep.
we
So we
opted to
paired
make it. We opted to make it.
Yeah, and
surf
I
turf.
basically told them just add the sirloin. One thing that I noticed about Disney, they did not have a limit on the lobster tail. I mean,
They don't have limits on anything, so it's kind of interesting.
I could have had 3 lobster tails
Yep.
if I wanted no extra charge. Whereas when we were on the Icon last October, if you wanted a second lobster tail, it was like $15.
Yep.
Whereas, and other ships are doing that now too. But with Disney, it was like, you want another, they even asked me, do you want another lobster tail? And I'm going, no, I think
we were full with it.
I think with
You
the
can see-
steak.
look at the size of the steak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the steak and the lobster tail, because it was a pretty good sized tail. It was kind of like, no, I want to be able to walk out. Not
They make
wheel
sure you're
out.
full every single night, basically.
So this is the oven baked lobster tail. It's a sun dried tomato lemon pesto mash that's the butter flavor. So it was really good. And I had baked oysters for an appetizer. Again, they had the dill marinated shrimp. You could have done that. And then for soups, they had white onion soup and they had braised oxtail soup. So that was more upscale than usual.
And again, this was in 1923.
1923. And then we did the old-fashioned apple pie, which came with vanilla ice cream, of course. And the Captain's Table Sundae was one of my favorites. It was mint chocolate chip ice cream with chocolate sauce, whipped cream, and a crunchy dry meringue. So that was yummy.
Good.
And then, of course, if you wanted, you could have had chocolate lava cake.
Yeah.
So
that was that.
Yes.
Yep.
All right. We're going to give you guys a little bit of break here.
Okay.
Before we move on to the next.
Yeah.
We'll give your voices a little bit of break here, and we'll be back in 1 minute, guys.
I can talk people's ears off, so that's fine.
Well, we got to give you a little bit of break here.
Yeah, that's fine. And then we'll come to
whether it's luxury or fun in the sun, Dave's got the tips to make your cruise #1. Tune in, sit back, let's plan your stay on Cantrell Country's travelway. It's Cantrell Country's travelway, setting sail on adventure every day. From island south to ocean blue, we got your cruising covered through and through. Pack your bag set your sights. We're cruising seas and booking flights from the ports to the waves where dreams come alive. Dave Cantrell is here to guide your ride. It's Cantrell Country travelway, setting sail on adventure every day. From island stops to ocean blue, we've got your cruising covered through and through.
All right, welcome back.
Okay. So first day, as I said, after we get through the lobby, the Grand Hall, the first thing we did was dart into the Haunted Mansion Lounge. It was calling me.
Yeah.
We also did it one other night because we would have done it even more than that, but our friend's son was having migraines and things, and so we didn't do it on our own, but we did it 2 times. Now, let me explain to you the story behind this lounge. If you go on the ride and you see the ballroom scene, okay, up above where the dancers are dancing, you see a covered, I want to say a covered area. It's got like a drape to it. The theory is that this is what you would find if you went through those drapes. There is a lounge, the Mariner's Lounge, and it would be on the ship. This is like the lounge for the passengers, things to gather on that ship. So that's the theory behind it. So what they did is they took advantage of that mystery of what's behind that curtain, and basically did this room. And what you see when you're on the ship, it's on deck 3, not too far from the Grand Hall. You see this oval entryway, and if you look into it, you see like a little mini hall. And that mini hall has never been shown before, with the exception of at Disneyland when they do the makeover for Haunted Mansion. You will zero in there with floating. It's like floating presents or something like that. That's the only time you've ever seen it before. So you go through that mini hall, which has like pictures and things on the wall, and it's giving you the lead up to where you open the door and enter this room. Now, this room is courtesy of, Ollie, was it Ollie? I'm going to say, what was that? Raleigh Crump.
Yeah.
So this is all based on some things that Raleigh Crump was not able to use on the Haunted Mansion ride. But when you walk into this room, and we at one point sat there for 45 minutes, it is better than the ride because you get 45 minutes worth of the music, the atmosphere, the special effects. It's just, our pictures are not going to do it justice. If you're interested in this kind of thing, if you're a Haunted Mansion fan, find the videos of people who went into the room, because that'll give you more of the ambiance, because they do purples and pinks and that kind of thing. The whole ambiance.
I have to look at that.
Yeah. So one of the things that happened when Raleigh Crump designed the Haunted Mansion, he really wanted it to be a museum of the weird.
Yep.
That idea did not go over well. Instead, they did the Haunted Mansion ride. One of the things that they could not use on the Haunted Mansion ride was this fish tank. They didn't have a place for it.
Now, this was for Disneyland.
Disneyland. We're talking Disneyland, of course. He's responsible for so many. It's a Small World, the Tiki Room. He did so much. So anyway, when you go into the room, one of the first things you see, it's in the middle of the room, is this fish tank, okay? There are skeleton fish, and you can't see it very well in this picture. Well, actually, there's one little skeleton fish. Little skeleton fish floating around and swimming in this tank.
Yep.
They disappear. They disappear.
Yep.
So this is awesome. Okay. Yep. So in the middle of the room, as I said, this is the focal point, and then they have seats on either side of it. So that's the first thing your eyes are directed to.
Yeah, so this thing was in mothballs for years and years and years.
In storage.
In storage in Anaheim. And it was put on the Treasure. Now, the rumor is it will not be on the Destiny because there's only one.
There's only one, yes.
Yep.
So next picture. So here we're looking, let's see, is that the fish? That's a fish tank. We're looking past towards
the purple is, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Corner.
So the bar is interesting in that there is a mirror in the back of the bar, and they have projections on it of the hitchhiking ghost.
Actually in it.
In it, and they sing the song from the ride, Hitchhiking Ghost. Grim, Grim Grinny Ghost, etc. And then they have other projections like Madame Leota's floating around in time.
Which you will see.
Yeah, and all kinds of things go on in this mirror.
Nice.
So this is one of the many special effects that is just awesome. Okay. So let's see, Michael. Oh,
okay. The portraits, like in the Haunted Mansion ride, both in Orlando and in Anaheim, these portraits are of a seafaring nature. And I'm just showing one. There were a number of them, but they come to life. And they start singing during the music. And depending on who's singing, like this guy, the Mariner, he will sing by himself. Then others will join in. It's quite spectacular how they do this.
These are the same pictures you will see on the ride, but they're inspired.
The same idea.
They're inspired by what you see on the ride.
More aquatic theme, yeah.
They sing and they move around in the pictures.
Nice.
So it's awesome. So, our drink. We ordered non-alcoholic drink.
A mocktail.
We ordered the Ghostly Retreat.
Okay.
This is Creepy Crawly Cola, grenadine, black cherry, eyeball gummies, and it's served with a souvenir glow cube, which is what you see in action on the table here. So there are so many drinks to choose from. They all have special effects and things going on. You have an option to get a Hatbox Ghost Sipper. There's also a Mariner, a Mariner, and then a Bride that you can purchase actually in the bar.
Okay.
I know what cruise I'm going on next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Now,
if
you look, this is a shot, and if you look up at the mirror, you will see Madame Leota.
Yep, she's in it very faintly on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, very faintly you could see her.
Yeah.
It's
right underneath
obviously
the green line.
in person. It's a lot more.
Yeah.
I never wanted to leave this place, and I was watching the video again today of the Haunted Mansion experience, that they had filmed, and I went, "Ooh, I miss it so much. I could go tomorrow."
Yeah.
So
the cool thing about this place, I heard a lot of people say, is yes, it's 45 minutes, but that's basically running through everything that happens, but you can't see everything at once.
No.
A lot of times.
That's why
So
you have to
watch
sit there.
the 45 minutes more than once to see everything.
Yes, that is true. Because even with the 45 minutes, yes, I got to see a lot, but there's things like, for example, there's a little box as you come in on the wall where you come in, there's a little box that we don't know what the heck's in there, but all I know is that during one of the musical sequences, that box is moving and glowing and things are going on there. And then there's just, it's just
fully interactive whole world.
So much.
Yeah.
So much going on.
So that is it as far as the pictures are concerned.
So let me talk to you about, I kind of did deck by deck what's there, just so people would have an idea. Obviously, deck 3 is the primary grand entrance deck with the shops and the Haunted Mansion bar. And it also has, on that deck, I believe is I'm trying to see if let's see here. So on deck 1 is strictly the crew tendering hospital. So if you're tendering, you go down to deck 1. That's where you'd get off and get the tender.
But we did not tender.
We know we did deck 1 once.
Yes, but we did.
And then we did deck. What was it? Did we do deck 3?
I think it's mainly deck 1.
Right.
For getting on and off the ship when we were in ports.
Right.
And it was deck 3 when we were in Canaveral.
Right.
Yeah.
So deck 2 has the kids area and a few cabins. It also has the 2 theaters. There's 2 different theaters on deck 2. And those theaters are 3 stories. They go from deck 2 to deck 4. So, and then deck 3, as I said, is, shops and deck 3 is one of my favorite decks, obviously.
Did
then
you
deck
like
4
Broadway shows?
Did I see the shows? Yes. We didn't opt for the first one, which is the goofy kind of Disney musical thing. I think that's because that was like
Sail Away. Sail Away Broadway show.
Well, yeah. And then we did see, the first one we saw was Beauty and the Beast.
Okay.
It was phenomenal. Okay. We figured out where the best seats were because Michael and his stroller managed to get us in ahead of a Walker. Managed to get I always want to call you a stroller. Walker managed to get us really in before the mob, so we got to pick our seats.
They give you really good seats if you have a person that needs it. So.
Yeah.
Well, also they told us, because we got to do, again through our friend who's platinum, we got to do a behind the scenes in the theater where they were showing us how the sets are moved and how all
Very
these
cool.
different things work. And then they were telling us the best seats in the house. There's like the row that's right next to where the sound engineer and the producer sit. And he says, those are, if you get those seats, those are the best seats. And those are the seats we got for, what was it?
Moana.
Oh, for Moana.
Moana, which is only on this ship, by the way.
Yes.
Well, yes. Moana is exclusive to the
Moana.
Treasure. Apparently, they were working on it for 5 years.
Yep.
It is so good that they're thinking at some point they might make it into a Broadway musical of its own.
Yeah.
So it was, but as I said, the behind the scenes tour, because you're watching this thing, and like in Beauty and the Beast, they have columns that light up, and those things move around the stage.
Yeah.
And then the special effects of when the Beast transforms, that's amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
Because he actually lifts up in the air, and then you don't see it because of course they've got things going on, but his clothes change.
Yeah.
And it's just, the two shows were phenomenal. They were definitely worth it.
To get a little bit of behind the scenes look, there is I believe a Disney Destiny TV show, not TV, Disney Plus special that you can watch, and it goes a little bit into the behind the scenes of that Moana.
Right. And then we hadn't watched that yet, but that's something I definitely would like to do. And then let's see. So the theaters, there are 2 theaters that are on deck 4. My cat's trying to get in the scene here. So I'm pushing him away. So that's why my arms are flailing here. The spa is on deck 5 for people who are interested in the spa. They have a barbery up there where they'll cut your hair.
That's me.
Barbers.
That is, they have the spa. They have there's a beauty salon. All
Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, if I remember correctly, is up there.
Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique is on deck 5. So all that kind of stuff is on deck 5. Deck 6 to 10 is primarily cabins.
Yes.
As we mentioned, deck 11 is where the food is primarily, other than your actual evening dining rooms. So that's that also on deck 11.
Hello, Kevin.
They have, that's where you would go for and you have to pay for these. It's called Wheezy's. They have the smoothies and the Dole Whip.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's near the kids' splash. There's a splash zone up there for kids.
Actually, I think it's 12.
Well, I've got it as deck 11 because deck 12, actually deck 12 is where Palo and Enchante are. And then they have the Rose Lounge, which is again, Beauty and the Beast themed.
Yeah.
So that's that. And then deck 13, the only thing you can really do on deck 13 is that's the entrance to the Aqua Mouse.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, so we didn't go up to that at all. Now we did wander around, let's see, on deck 4, they also have, that's where they have the lounges for what I call the trivia games and the daytime activities, that kind of stuff.
I guess you can call them.
Yeah, they have Triton's Lounge. We actually went into that and we participated in the Disney trivia quiz. And then they had, right after that, they had a father-daughter, significant other kind of how well do you know them kind of quiz.
Yeah.
Between the partners. And that was pretty darn funny. And then across the way, they have Sarabi, which is where they have a lot of daytime activities. I guess that's maybe where you play bingo and stuff like that.
Yep.
And then at nighttime, that's where your adult trivia and things is going on. So there's that. And then let's see, what else did I have on here? I had
Scat
a note.
Cat,
Oh,
I think.
yes.
Isn't that on that?
I
Scat
thought
Cat
you
Lounge.
pictured that. Why didn't you have a picture?
Which one?
The Aristocats.
Aristocats Lounge.
Why did you
Scat
not have
Cat
pictures
Lounge.
of Aristocats?
I did have one picture, but it
didn't come out well?
because it was from a distance.
Yeah.
You were inside. How could it be from a distance? Anyway, we went into it. We didn't actually go and have a drink in there, but during one of our port days, we went into the Aristocats, Scat Cat
I do
Lounge.
want to go on this ship.
And there's a piano kind of in the middle, so it looks like it's a piano lounge. but it looks very comfortable. And so there's that. And then, as I said, we didn't spend any time, we didn't spend any time in the other.
Quiet Cove, yeah, it's on 13.
Yeah, I'm trying to see here. So here's where my other notes are. So the Lounge Dave was asking me about, which was the 20,000 Leagues one. We didn't go into that, Dave. But that
See, I grew up on 20,000 the League. Man, that was my movie when I was growing up. I would have loved to have seen that one.
Yeah, they have a glass ceiling in there. I don't know if there's a lot of special effects.
I understand that it does react to especially towards where the big monster, the big octopus is attacking the sub thing, from what I understand. Right. I mean, I could be wrong, but I thought that.
I've heard a lot of people say it's the magic bands that affect that one.
Okay.
If you have a magic band on for Disney Cruise Line,
I do recommend
you'll be able to have experiences in the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea exhibit.
Oh, okay. Well, good to know. Good to know for next time, because we did take our magic bands. It's the first time we've ever used a magic band. We were novices.
They're really cool. They're nice.
And so when they would have entertainment going on in the Grand Hall, it would flicker and do different things.
It would light up and kind of dance.
And it also affects the fireworks show. It lights up and does all.
Right. Now, another lounge that looked very interesting was the Skipper's Lounge. That's a very open lounge. But it looked like that'd be a place like on a port day where a lot of people are off the ship. You can go and read a good book in there. It looks very relaxing.
Yeah.
Okay? So that was something we didn't spend a lot of time. That's where they had the receptions for the weddings on the days that they had the weddings. So looked like a very good thing. And then the two, for those people who've got to have their lattes, and they do have some alcoholic drinks and things. You've got the Jade Cricket Cafe and you've got the Hey Hey Cafe. Okay. And that's where you get your fancy lattes. And I know in the Jade Cricket, they have some fancy, I want to call them like tea combination drinks where a few of them have just this special gin in them and one of them is bourbon.
Very cool.
It's alcoholic teas, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, I did notice that these lounges were all closed when we were in port. I know the shops are closed because of customs and duty rules, but apparently anything that served alcohol was also
can't serve alcohol.
Right.
In port.
Yeah, so you're limited to eat, and more eat.
Yep.
So that's kind of like an overview of it. As I said, I am so excited. We are waiting for the dates to open up soon for the treasure for
Eastern Caribbean.
Yes, we're going to go do Eastern Caribbean, and we're going to do either the first week of October or the second week of November. I think were the dates we were looking at, because depending whether we wanted to do Halloween or Christmas themed.
Yeah.
So that's what we have been planned for next year for 26.
Matters if you don't ever have kids with you, do you, or do you?
No, our kids are in their 30s.
Okay.
The grandsons, grandsons do not, they're 8 and 5. My daughter doesn't feel comfortable enough yet to take them on a cruise because they're still
5, maybe, because at least she would get some peace away from her.
Well, unfortunately, as I said, the older grandson, the 8-year-old, was just diagnosed with type 1 diabetes.
Oh, never mind.
So she is working on getting that under control. She has some moments right now where it's up and down, and they won't give him the insulin pump until he's been on this program for 6 months, where he can get more stable.
So she basically took him to the pediatrician, and his blood glucose was reading over 600. So they immediately sent him to the pediatric emergency.
And
they put him in the hospital for 3 days while they brought him under control.
Yeah.
But it literally came out of the blue.
Yeah. Well, my grandma was born with diabetes, so.
Right. You can live a very long life now as long as you pay attention to it and, listen to the guidelines.
You got to monitor and control it.
Yeah. So that's limiting us, at least at this point, of planning any kind of what I call family trips with the whole family.
But they did say that they've already had success with phase 1 trial with stem cell transplants that regrow the islet cells in the pancreas. And apparently this one gentleman in Great Britain is totally cured. No more insulin, nothing.
Yep.
So they
Stem
are
cell
hoping
research is getting better because
hoping within 5 years to be able to bring it to market. The question will be is, of course, the expense.
Yes. Yeah. But so
But
there's hope.
Better
But
to
since
see
it's
less
your
than
own,
not.
yeah.
Stem
since
cell
it's your
research is
own
not
cells,
yeah.
they said since it's your own cells,
hard.
that they create stem cells from, there's no issue of rejection.
My mom had to go down to Mexico just to get hers done for her back. Stem
Mm.
cell research.
Ah. Yeah.
Yep.
So that's, so we said that's,
Yep.
but let's see, as far as what's traveling right now, we're waiting on two things. We're waiting on any family trips for him to get stabilized. And then as far as our own traveling, I'm waiting till my social security should kick in, prayer,
Yeah.
the end of May. So that'll
There you
help
go.
us. because
I would say probably for you guys, it would probably be better for the Christmas. If you have not done it yet, the maritime
for
Christmas.
next year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, I'm leaving that up to my friend as far as what deals he
Okay.
can see. Because he's the platinum.
Yeah.
And he also has access to certain deals and things through friends and stuff.
Yep.
So we'll let him figure it out. We're open to either because we haven't done either type of cruise. So
And then the neat thing we saw is when we got off in Castaway, they have these planks where people who have been on 25 or more cruises have their names on
the
it.
Pearl level.
Yeah.
Yes, the Pearl
The
level.
Pearl level.
Oh,
I have not made it up to
speaking of
that
which, Cass, let's talk about Castaway Key. I had missed going on Castaway Key on the Wish because we had engine troubles. Engine troubles. There you go.
Yeah.
Engine troubles and everything else, and so we missed it. But it is for anyone, even if you're not a beach person, it is worth it to get off.
Yeah.
And go to the adult section on the other side. They have incredible barbecue over there. They barbecue steak.
Top of the line barbecue.
Oh,
Both,
Yes. Yeah.
both
Steak.
islands, by the way.
Yeah.
Lighthouse or that one.
Yeah.
Castaway.
That was incredible. We
And
really enjoyed it.
I love the part where when you're on the shuttle, you're literally going down this runway as you're coming in. And I said, has this ever been used as a runway? And they go, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It has been.
In the old days.
Yep.
Yep. And that's
Really,
where
it was a bootleg for the longest time.
Yes.
It was-
yeah.
And they can still use it for
Yeah.
the smaller prop jobs.
So I would say of the ports that we got off on, which was only Jamaica and Castaway Key was our favorite of the two.
Yep.
We
I
had-
love Castaway Key better. I like it better than Lighthouse Point right now still.
Okay, so now Lighthouse Point, it looks like you have to walk a ways to get to.
You don't officially. The dock does have a transport.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
Okay.
People know that. But then
Yeah.
after the dock, you have to walk to get to the beach.
Hmm.
Right.
There's no transportation between there.
Oh, okay. So yeah.
Well, you had a little bit of a walk after you got
Yeah.
off the ship to the transport, but once you did that, you had the first stop, and then you you had two stops on the main shuttle,
Yes.
and then at the second stop, you transferred over to take
the
the
add-on
one
only.
to
Yeah.
the.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah. So of the two ports that we went to, that was my favorite of the two. Jamaica was kind of a for me. I don't think
Well,
I'd
only
get off
because
again.
we were in.
Yeah. Cozumel we had been to before, and
Yeah.
basically the shops that we saw in Cozumel, because Cozumel has three different areas where you can disembark depending on where your cruise docks. There's one that's into the main city. We were at the farthest one, and there was just a bunch of shops kind of similar to what we saw in Jamaica. And then we didn't get off in Grand Cayman because apparently it was either too busy or something.
I think it was busy.
It was busy, and so
Okay.
we had to tender at a different.
They went to a different place and tender over. Well, everything in Grand Cayman is tender, but it was then going to be a 25-minute shuttle ride from each way from where you got off the tender to get into the main part. Now, we've been in Grand Cayman before.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
I remember Grand Cayman
a
was
great island, but it's just hard to get into for a lot of
Yeah.
ships.
Because I think what we did, isn't that where we fed the stingrays?
Yes. But
Yeah.
if we had been able to go into the main area, pretty much we could have walked around. But because of where they had to wind up tying up or dropping anchor, they said it was going to be about a 20 to 25 minute shuttle trip. And of course, I don't know how big the shuttles were, but if you had a lot of people going, you would have to wait your turn. And it's like a 25-minute ride in and a 25-minute
it was
ride
scenic.
back.
I haven't got to go to that island yet. So
Which, Grand Cayman?
Yeah, Grand Cayman.
Yeah. It's a good, if you can get into that main area, we enjoyed it, but this is memories from decades ago. And of course things were different. So we would have liked to have seen it again just so we could have known. So, but we're looking to we've done 3 Western Caribbeans in a row.
Yeah.
Basically, because we did the Wish, we did the Icon, and we did the Treasure. They were all Western.
And of course, with Cozumel, getting off the ship and seeing the guys there with their machine guns, the soldiers, it was kind of like, okay. And then getting back to the ship, and this wasn't even
That's
the
only
ship.
things, if I remember correctly, but
and drug sniffing
dogs. But leaving, it was like you went through. It was worse than the airport, and I was joking, and I was saying I'm going to get arrested because I have type 2 diabetes, and I've been on Mounjaro, and I've lost about 25 pounds, and their metal detectors were so sensitive that I had to take my belt off, and I thought that my pants were going to fall down, and they wouldn't let me hold my pants. It was like I had to put my arms out from around, so they could wand me and stuff like that. And it was like, oh boy. So it was after that I was going, well, I'm not doing that one again.
No, that was traumatic for him. Any questions? Anything they think I've missed?
Well, look at it this way, Mike. The worst that could happen is you would have looked like Captain Harris on Police Academy 5 when they went to Miami.
Yes.
Oh boy.
But I didn't want to get stuck in some Mexican jail because I dropped my drawers.
I agree with you on that. I would agree with you on that one.
Yeah. No, that would have been bad. The ship we would have sailed without us, and Michael would have been in jail, and I would have been sitting outside of it going, what do I do now?
Yeah.
Talking
about the Castaway Cay, I like their the water's like the bay right there that's enclosed. I like that they have that snorkeling experience where you get to see the different things underneath the water, and then they have the stingrays, I believe, right there too.
Let me ask you guys something, and I know Richard, you've been there enough, so either one of you guys. Do they have areas where you can actually scuba dive down at Castaway Cay?
They have an experience to scuba dive.
Yes.
But I believe it's on one of the side boats that's on that main dock. You kind of pass by it, and it's a excursion. So
we saw the boat going out. We saw the boat going out when we got off the ship.
Yes.
But they have a snorkel area right there. But as far as actually certified scuba diving, no, I think they have to take you out.
They have to take you out, but that is the corner of the Great Barrier Reef.
Yeah.
Right there. So you get to see the top corner, not the bottom corner around Asia or wherever that is. But So exotic fish, sharks.
My daughter, the older one that has the diabetic son, she's certified scuba.
Yeah.
So
open water.
What she wants to do, she wants to go in that tank in the seas at Epcot. She wants to swim in that tank.
The shark tank. Yeah.
That's me too. As soon as I learned I'm trying to get my niece to come down here so we can get certified to scuba dive together because she loves the water like I do. And
those things sometimes are not as reliable as they say they are. I seen a video
What?
of one shark that butted his head right against those bars and broke through it, and
Ooh.
with the people inside of.
Well, now remember this though: most sharks will not attack you. There's got to be a specific reason. It's
They
rare.
were
It
intense.
happens. I'm not going to say it doesn't happen, but it's still very rare that sharks will attack you. Most of the
say
time
a
you
lot
can
of
swim.
times-
Most of the time you
thought
can
I've seen a
scuba
little
dive
bit of
around them
red
and you'll be
in-
okay.
Dave, I think seen a little bit of red in the water, so I think they were enticing the shark to come there.
Oh no, that's bad.
Well, then that's their own stupidity. Okay,
Right.
I'm not
There you
inviting a shark. I'm just going to go
Yeah.
scuba dive with them, and so for me, I would be okay because not most of the time they will. They usually it's a provocation of as to why they will attack.
We call those Darwin Award winners.
Yep, but still.
Yep,
Now,
I agree.
interesting thing. My second stepfather was a deep sea diver.
Yeah.
He's the one that caught those 500-pound tunas and all that kind of stuff. And he used to sleep at night with a spear gun next to his bed, that kind of thing.
Oh.
So we were out because he had a houseboat. But I remember one time we were out and about, and I was swimming in the ocean. It was off of the Anacapa Islands, that's up near California there. And I think I was probably like, I want to say 8 or 9. And somebody yelled, "Shark." You never saw a little kid move so fast out of the water in your
Well,
life.
that's when you call for Tackleberry and let him come in there with the gun and go, "Cease and desist. Leave the swimming area now. Move
I
it,
was not
move
interested
it."
in swimming with sharks.
That's like for daredevils. They have this one attraction here in Vegas at the Strat, formerly the Stratosphere, where you're up on the 112th floor, which is where like the roller coaster is and stuff like that. And it's a zip line that takes you from there to the ground. And there isn't enough money for me to go on that. But people do it. And then they have a bungee one that's an 800 and some odd foot drop.
Oh no.
Off the 112th platform.
David T said, "We are here on the beach where a giant shark has just eaten a girl swimmer. Well, Mr. Jaws, how was it? Dynamite."
Oh God.
David T. Leave it to David T.
Yes. No, thank you, David T. Yeah. So
and that's someone that works at the haunted schoolyard thing during the Halloween season.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's why I love David T. That's why I love him. And obviously I love, I'm sure his daughter could tell us a lot of good stories, being that she was on the Disney Treasure in the medical facility too.
Yeah, she was on deck 1, and I luckily didn't have to go see her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But here in Vegas, over with the area they call Area 15, which is off the Strip, they're actually Universal is building Halloween Horror Nights. That's going to be a year-round permanent installation.
Yeah, I remember the Jaws song, David T.
Yes, I do remember. Yeah. Oh, there was a song, Mr. Jaws.
Well,
Mr. Jaws.
But see, nobody wants to know about the Halloween. We all want to know about Area 51 where they're keeping all the aliens. So, I mean, you and Jill need to sneak into Area 51 and see if you can find all the aliens for us.
Well, there is a town, or was it a hotel?
Rachel. Well, there's the Alien Motel in Rachel, Nevada, which is right outside the gate to Area 51. And they actually had this thing. It was last year where it was kind of like they were going to do like get a bunch of people in storm Area 51. But of course, it never amounted to anything because the military basically said, we're going to take out anybody trying to storm Area 51.
Well, listen, military usually won't use force on that, but that's one of those secret bases is you put foot on it. They shoot first. They don't ask questions.
No,
they just bury
it. Any government land. They just don't do it.
Well, no, it's only high security secret ones where they do that.
Yeah,
but the Rachel, Nevada, and the Alien Motel is literally right outside of the Area 51 gates.
Real.
And people do go there. I mean, it is popular.
We've had friends that stayed there.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure it is. I mean, it's still, I mean, even today, it's still one of the most talked about things because, I mean, it's.
Yeah.
Well,
We
Obscure.
have a museum.
who
We have a
knows? Yeah,
museum.
well, we have, but who knows what's there? I don't plan to go find out because it's a one-way trip. And because if they don't shoot you, they'll disappear you.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
Exactly.
I know it's there, and that's good enough for me.
My dad
Yeah,
worked
well,
at
you can. Listen. I already work at a Nightmare High School. I don't need to go to horror.
Horror
Your schoolhouse opening
Yeah.
there. I already work
Yeah.
at a how. I will already work at a horror film at a high school.
Dave,
So-
maybe you could have David T do a little behind the scenes tour with you, so he can give you the full experience.
He might actually. That might be a good one for a travel thing on Tuesday night. I mean, I do need. Actually, that might be a good thing, David T. Maybe you can do a tour, a behind the scenes thing on the travel show for Tuesday nights
There you go.
for this year.
Area 51's about
Richard,
2
were you
hours from
saying your
here.
dad worked at Area 51?
No, he worked at a Hanford power plant that's in Washington State,
Right.
and it's the same way. This regulations trying to get in there. It's a government, protected
Well,
site.
Okay.
So.
Our son-in-law was 15 years in the Air Force, and he
Okay.
does work for a defense contractor, and he does have top secret clearance. So he don't talk about what he does.
Oh no,
We know that
it would be
he's
like
an
this.
he's an aircraft specialist, but that's about as far as we know. He don't talk about his job.
Yeah.
It would be like this. He could tell you, but then you'd have to disappear.
And
Exactly.
no, he tells us he could
That
tell
kind
us
of
he
high
would have to kill us.
high clearance.
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
And he said that to us jokingly. He could tell us, but then he'd have to kill us.
But I remember when he went through to get because he went from secret clearance to top secret, they actually called me and talked to me about him while they were vetting him, and it was like and they were very straight lace, and it was like, we got this question, this question, this question. Thank you very much. Click.
Well,
Yeah.
here's the thing about it, and this is for any security clearance. Hell, even I did an AT training at the sub base when I was in the reserves. One of my ATs I did up at Kings Bay. It was a jump just to get security clearance to do my AT there, because I didn't work at the front of the base. I was a storekeeper, so I was beyond the security gate, aware going back to where the subs were.
Right.
So, and even then, I didn't have to have a high clearance. I still had to have a good clearance to just get to the gates to do my AT.
Well, yeah, just to
if
get
you
on
want to
the
see
base.
the early stages of how those power plants got made, Oppenheimer is a really, really good movie to see if you're going to see that. Recent movie.
Yeah, I heard Oppenheimer was a good movie.
Especially our
It's a
nuclear
long
power
movie.
plants.
You have to be ready to sit there and pause and to get your popcorn and stuff.
Yep.
So, any questions, Dave?
No, you guys did a great job. Thank you. That's why I sat back and just listened, except throw in a couple of comments here and there and questions. I mean, it's awesome. I mean, and when you guys do stuff like that, I love to do it. And hey, Joe, I know you said you had hit the link. And I'll have to ask Mike if he did it, but I haven't seen no indication that you had hit it or did it.
No, they did a link when you did the center thing.
Yeah, but I didn't get. I don't know if Mike got the inner.
Huh. Ouch. My cat wants to climb on me. All right, cat, go entertain yourself.
Yeah, maybe Mike did. I have no idea. Or if you want to try to hit because I would love to see some of those pictures that you guys got. Maybe post them in the area where for.
Oh, you're talking about in Discord?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
no,
where I'm sending. That's where I'm sending all my clients until I can get my, until I actually get my website up, which who knows when that'll end up being now. That's where that's where I'm going to send all my clients to say, look, take a look at these pictures. And I posted. I still got one more set to do on the MSD. Seascape, and I've already did 3. And anybody that's been there and looked at it, I've already put like 3 sets on there.
right.
Yeah.
So basically, as I said, this year's we're up in the air until we get Social Security money, and then I really do want to do one of those river cruises. In the U.S. I really want to. My parents used to go. There was a river barge that would go out of New Orleans, and they became frequent travelers on that. They did 2 cruises a year, and so they would tell me about it. So it's something looks interesting, at least to try once and see how it is. Being older, we're okay with less entertainment, less activities. Although those river cruises do include port activities, meaning excursions of various types.
Yes. They do it in 2 areas, which is right down there, right around Texas, the Bay Area. They do river cruises around there.
Right.
But they also do the river cruises around, if I remember correctly, Columbia River. So that is
the Mississippi. They do
Mississippi, the Columbia
River.
River.
All the way up in Mississippi.
There's a few of them.
The Columbia and Snake Rivers is one of their choices. Yeah. And then they also do like Bar Harbor, Maine. So they do something that's up there with Maine.
Yeah, they go up into Canada.
Yep. So
I've seen a lot of people that do the Columbia River cruise, and then they get off at Portland, and then take a drive up to Seattle and go on an Alaskan cruise line right afterwards.
Yeah, we did. One of our cruises was out of Seattle.
Not bad. It's 2.5-hour drive.
One was out of San Francisco.
We did one out of San Francisco, one out of Seattle,
and one out of Vancouver.
Actually,
that was in Seattle. It was Vancouver, and then the other one with my mom was the one that went out of Seward.
That was the land.
That was so we flew.
Now, how do we ended up in Seattle one time though? Did we go Seattle separately for something?
We might have gone separately for something because
we've been to Seattle.
We flew to Fairbanks, and that's when I asked the guy at the hotel, so tell me, what time does the sun set? And he looked at his watch and he goes, in about 2 months. And
that's Alaska for you.
It was weird looking out the window of our hotel at this apartment complex across the street where the kids were out there playing catch at midnight and the sun was still out. And the darkest it got, and this was in July, the darkest it got was twilight. It was like at 2 a.m. It was just dark enough that the street lights kicked on for like a half hour. And then they got up again like at 4 a.m. to go to the restroom, and it felt like it was 10.
Light.
Yeah.
And and the crazy thing of it is that only lasts for so many months, because for most of their time they got mostly dark and a few hours of light during the winter months, fall.
When I went up to Juneau, it was interesting because it was 95 outside.
Wow.
95 degrees.
That's kind of unheard of for up at Juneau. Yeah. And probably nobody has air conditioning. You need good heaters, not air conditioning up in Alaska.
Exactly. And it was in Juneau, Alaska. I remember that. Yeah.
We went from Fairbanks to Denali on the train. Spent the night in Denali. Went from Denali to Anchorage on the train.
Yep.
Spent a couple of days in Anchorage, and then the train again from Anchorage to Seward, and got on the ship.
Yeah. Another beautiful, if you're thinking about like a train ride, any of either of the Rockies. So you're looking at the one that's on the West Coast, that's right around Seattle area. Seattle is split in two by the big mountain range that goes into the Canadian.
The Cascades.
The Cascades, they're right there. They turn into the Canadian Rockies, if I remember correctly, up in Canada. And there is a train that goes up there, and it's a scenic train. It's very, very beautiful. Comes out of Seattle. So that's a very beautiful
Yukon
one.
Railway.
Yeah.
Remember the Yukon Railway?
Yeah. Well, what was the one we did out of
Colorado
Springs? That was the one that went up to
that was Pikes Peak.
Pikes Peak. And,
Pikes
we did
Peak.
it in November. We did not get all the way up. The track, it'd be 14,500 feet to Pikes Peak. And they stopped at around 12,000 feet because the track beyond that was impassable because already snow. And this was early November. And all I remember is getting off the train. Our daughters were probably, one was a teenager, the other was preteen, and they were out throwing snowballs at each other. And I was walking around and I was already getting out of breath because of the altitude.
Yep.
It wasn't affecting them too much, but
Nope,
yeah. But that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Pikes Peak.
Pikes Peak. Yeah,
Pikes
that was
Peak.
interesting. Yeah, we wanted to go see Four Corners, but we didn't make it to be able to stand on.
If
Four
you do
Corners.
ever get to go to Washington State again, Mount Everest, they do have a scenic railway that goes around the edge of it, right around the edge. It's very beautiful. Yeah. Then they have what Dave has delved a little bit into, which is the other Rockies, which are over in the East Coast. Rockies. Yeah.
Well, I'd like to do like a fall foliage on the East Coast.
Beautiful
trip.
Yeah, we'd love to.
Oh
do
man,
that.
there's a nice long trail up along the Appalachian Mountains.
Appalachian Mountains.
Because everything Appalachia goes all the way starting down in top of Georgia, Alabama, all the way up into Maine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I know when our daughter, our younger daughter, went to vet school at Virginia Tech, so she was living in
Roanoke. I know the well area.
Roanoke. Yeah, well, I remember we would fly from, at that time, Los Angeles to Charlotte, and then we would change over to what I would call a puddle jumper, which was like a turboprop to Roanoke, and that was an experience being on the turboprop. You know, we flew over Hilton Head and stuff like that, and you could see a lot because you never got much above about 12,000 feet. And then we would fly into Roanoke, get the car, and we would drive up to Blacksburg, where she lived. And, you know, that's right on the Appalachians also. In fact, pretty much in the Appalachians.
Yeah, that's pretty close to the Shenandoah Valley.
Yep.
I know Lynchburg. I spent a good time in Lynchburg, Virginia, which is only about an hour east of Roanoke, which is 2 hours east of Blacksburg.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah,
I know that area. My dad grew up on the west part of Virginia. I got cousins that live down in they're about 40 miles inside, just above North Carolina state line into the Virginia.
What was it, the 460 or?
I graduated from high school.
460 is the main route that cuts across all the way.
Yep, because we would head out
460 is all weird. It is a really weird route through the state of Virginia.
We would head out from Roanoke, go past Salem, and then head on up, heading towards like Bristol. We went to Bristol, Tennessee with her, where literally we stand in the middle of the street and State
and you're on
Street.
two different states on each side of the state. Bristol, you're in Bristol, Tennessee on one side, Virginia on the other.
Exactly.
We planned our whole trip around that commercial for the Gecko.
Yeah.
Standing in the middle of the state, we said, I got to do that. That's got to be our next trip.
We did it where you're looking on the left and it's Tennessee, and you're looking on the right and it's Virginia. And they have a different tax rate for like sales tax.
Yes.
And it's like people will sit there and go, well, let's see, how much is it over here and how much is it over there? It was very interesting.
We found we did 2 driving trips a year with her when she was based there at Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
So we got to see the eclipse in Nashville.
And then also about 20 minutes from her apartment was where they filmed Dirty Dancing.
Okay.
And we went there and saw all that.
What was left of it?
Yeah, what was left
It
of
was
it.
very drought. It'd been impacted by the
The
drought
lake was
a lot.
gone.
The lake was
Yeah.
basically gone. Yeah.
I used
So-
to live 5 minutes where they recorded most of Twilight. So
Oh, yeah. Something.
Forks, Washington. Yes.
Forks,
So
Washington.
Dave, I graduated high school in Alexandria, Virginia.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yes. Yeah.
I've always
so I
wanted
lived
to get up. I never got up to that part of Virginia because, being in the Navy, I wanted to get to Norfolk, but I never did get up to Williamsburg or Norfolk that way. And
Yeah,
that's
my mother worked for Rand Corporation out of Washington, D.C. And
Really?
my stepfather worked for a defense contractor. So
Okay.
we moved to Arlington, Virginia from California. So
Well, we
lived there for 2 years.
We took advantage of it because when our daughter was on clinical rotations, her surgical rotation was in DC. And
No, it was in Baltimore.
no, surgical was in DC,
D.C. Okay.
where she did her spays and neuters. Her equine was in outside of Baltimore. But yeah, so we did the proverbial DC stuff.
Saw the things that I never saw when I lived there.
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, hey, even all the time that I went to school in Lynchburg, there's one thing that I've wanted to do, and I still haven't gotten there yet. And it was only 45 minutes, which is the Appomattox Courthouse. And that's
Yeah.
just east of Lynchburg on 460.
Yeah.
Of course, I loved going to Williamsburg, which was that was quite interesting, especially when we would drive around. We stopped at one place called Mickey's Tavern, which
Yep.
is literally
Michie's.
the Michie's Tavern.
Michies.
Yeah, and the front part of it is from the 1700s.
Mhm.
It still has the huge fireplace, which was basically in those days also your kitchen.
Best chicken ever.
Yeah. And then they had added on to it in the 1800s. So you had the front, which was like from the late 17s. Then you had the main building, which was from the 1800s. And then you had one more add-on, which was from the early 1900s.
So you go in there and you eat this chicken that, as I said, is incredibly good. And you imagine sitting next to George Washington and Thomas Jefferson,
Yeah.
because that's where they used to go eat.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of like almost like St. Augustine, where it's heavily on the Spanish, but then it has that English texture that the Americans built. England never really owned it because Florida was sold to the U.S. after we won the Revolution.
Right.
But you still had that. It would be like the bottom parts of the building. You got the Spanish type of architectural, but then you look at the buildings that got like second story floors and all that. It's the English looking thing. So
Right.
it's that kind of situation, which makes it unique. It really is unique.
Yeah.
Well, that was the thing we liked about Colonial Williamsburg
Oh, it
is
was
that
neat.
they did not change a lot of the original architecture, which, they repurposed it, but
Yeah.
it very much was original. And
I think we've eaten in all the taverns there too. Talk
Well, not
about
all of
food.
them.
Hopefully the roads are wider.
Nowhere to go.
St. Augustine, you try to get down some of these roads. What's nice about it is a lot of the roads still have the cobblestone that they used set in there from those days. But trying to get a car through there
No, we didn't have any issues.
wasn't made for vehicles, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we parked behind the tavern.
well, yeah, but there was
We had
basically,
dinners.
you would have a place to park and then you did a fair amount of walking around. So
You
when
went
you
another
actually went in-
very historical town that I love, Philadelphia.
Now, see, I've not
Is it
been to Philadelphia. I'd
the old
love to go at
Capitol
some point. He
building
has.
and-
He had relatives that lived
yeah,
there.
but when
so-
you
Yeah.
were when you were in the heart of Colonial Williamsburg, you were walking. You were not, or bike people. Some people biked, but mainly walking. But from
Yeah.
the outskirts of it, they did have parking lots. But they really had not changed the architecture or the setup. Of course, I wonder, especially with some of these taverns, how they get their deliveries into some of these places. I mean, they obviously do it, but how, I don't know.
They do. Well, I mean, if it's any like St. Augustine, these trucks come in here, they do the delivery, but boy, it's hard to get around them.
Yeah.
Because I mean, some of those side streets, again, they were made for the horse. You can tell they were made for horse and buggies. They were definitely not made for vehicles.
No, they weren't. And especially, it kind of reminded me when we were in New York, and you would have you'd have these delivery trucks park, and when they would park in double park, you weren't going anywhere. You were waiting for them to offload.
You had to go around them.
Yeah,
Yes.
if you were lucky.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or you were like one of our taxi drivers where he created his own lane.
I lived in Harlem for 1 year, so I know the feeling.
I don't know about you guys, but we've been going for 2 hours.
Yeah.
That's how much fun we've had.
Yes.
Well, we hope we have imparted information, and you
And
folks will
I
pick up the phone and give Dave a call and get yourself on a Disney cruise.
Yes.
Yep.
And David T's been interjecting here since he's familiar too, since his daughter.
Well, that's what I love about Harlan. Harlan's, David T and Harlan are two of the people that they. And I appreciate Debbie keeping an eye on the chat. I'm sure she's over there helping Pete because he's doing the Baltimore game right now.
Right.
So I'm sure she's been doing double duty back there. Speaking of traveling, guys, Saturday we're talking about St. Augustine, and I'm kind of glad we were talking about that. There will be a live stream coming from St. Augustine come Saturday on both channels. I actually am going to set it up so it'll be on the Dave's Disney Dream and the Travel Channel. I'm going to try to get there about 11. I don't know what time I probably won't start. I may enjoy a little bit myself and take some pictures. That I want to get some pictures and all that I can stick on Discord. So, but probably about 1:32, because then we'll go around. I plan on doing one or two. I may do the Pirate Museum, some things like that. Depending on what the money situation, my finances are, I may see if they may try to get out on, may take a cruise, may do a sailing on the sail ship.
Yeah,
there you go.
Maybe I'm hoping that I would be able to maybe live stream from there. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
And sail around the Mantanza Bay.
Richard, when's your next cruise?
It's going to be a few years for me. I do have a few Disney trips coming up next year, so.
Okay.
Go back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the life kind of directs how we go.
I'm saving up money so I can live in Florida.
Our next Disney trip will be heading 3 hours west to go to Disneyland for the 70th.
Okay.
Yeah, we want to plan something to get over there for that. But that's only a 3.5 hour to 4 hour car ride, so that's not as hard as the airline.
About the same for me. I'm up in Seattle, so I'm up. So. Well,
the funny thing is that when we lived in LA, we actually lived out in the San Fernando Valley in an area called Porter Ranch, and the problem is for us to get to Disneyland, to get down to Orange County, you had to drive through downtown LA, and that added an hour to the drive.
Yes,
I mean not physically into the main part of the city, but basically going right through it on the freeway, which I don't care what time of day it was a parking lot. So
second or third worst city for traffic is LA. So in the whole US.
Yeah, well, I know all about it because basically lived there 95% of my life, and where we lived was about a 20 to 25 mile drive to my place.
Have a good night, David T.
Yep.
And on a good day would take an hour.
Yeah.
to go 20 plus miles.
Yep.
Except for the day before Thanksgiving. Then it was 3 hours.
And then it expands.
Yeah. So even though we're farther away, the drive to get there, which is 3.5 to 4, is not as bad. And we generally we'll stop for like breakfast, so kind of in the middle, so we break it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this year we want to go do that at some point. And then I'm still hoping for the river cruise. And then early next year, I really would like to go on the Star of the Seas. But we have to figure out how that's going to work.
Yeah,
So,
I actually want to get. I'd actually love to get on the America one that MSC just came out with.
Yeah,
the new one.
World America.
World America, yeah. Because I'll tell you what, I watched Tinkerbell's live stream, and then I've watched a couple of her video. Oh my goodness, the ship is beautiful.
So, January next year, I will be going to Disneyland. That'll be exciting. It'll be a lot of excitement right after the new year.
Right.
But then August next year, I will be going also. I'll be trying to go towards the D23 event at end of August and September.
Right.
And that'll be in California.
Yes, because this year it's here. Or why should the Walt Disney
I'll be
World.
going to next year, not this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, they alternate.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Finally get to go.
That looked awesome last year when I saw the.
Yes. Joe Road. I was glad I got to go to that. So.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that the rides they're adding to the Avengers campus at California Adventure.
Yeah.
Well, the Thanos ride supposedly is basically a redo of Guardians of the Galaxy at Epcot. It's the same vehicles, but themed towards Thanos.
And
then they have one that's going to be what is it, in Stark's lab.
Yeah, so
and that one looks like no thanks. That where you're hanging,
you're dangling.
Well, you
and
get
it
to
whips
see
you
it.
around.
kind of, yeah. It probably kind of like the one that they're putting in Disney World. That you're in a car at one point, but then you're dangling in somewhere else on that new one that's going into Hollywood Studios.
I'll go on to it. It's just that a lot of people just don't like it when your feet are not touching ground or structure.
I can tell you from personal experience, having been on Dueling Dragons.
I'm going to tell you this. It's like jumping out of a perfectly good airplane. Why in the hell are you going to do it? I am not jumping out of a good, solid airplane that has something solid under my feet.
Dave, I don't really care. I have been on other fantastic roller coasters that dangle. One of them being in SeaWorld. You know which one I'm talking about.
Well, I've done the Mako, but you ain't getting me on anything that don't have nothing under my feet.
Yeah, it doesn't have feet. Yeah.
I did it once, Dave. I went on Dueling Dragons. I thought I was going to die.
And then our daughters went on Dueling Dragons.
And we couldn't get them off it.
Couldn't get them off of it.
I love Dueling Dragons.
12 times in a row they went on it. And me, I went on it because I went with a convention, if you will, and they had rented out that part of the park. So at night I went on it and I didn't know what I was getting myself into. And I went on the faster side, the fire side. And then they put me on the outside. So when you do that, you're dangling, okay, which is bad enough, but then the thing swings. So it swings you out. And so I'm not only dangling, but I'm swinging out and I'm like, I'm going to die. And then I got off that ride and I went, okay, at least I didn't eat before I went on this ride.
Well, there you go.
And then, like I said, the next year when our daughters were teenagers, they went on the ride
12 times in a row.
And we just sat there and enjoyed the sights of Islands of Adventure because all we would do is see them run by and I'm going, are you done? No, We're gonna race each other now. We're going on the separate ones and racing.
Yeah.
Oh no, we're gonna go back on this one, and I'm going,
Yeah.
okay.
No, that was
You
intense.
then they have that Epic Universe is happening now, and then
Yeah.
that's going to
Yes.
be expanding that. So
Yeah, I heard
Well, did
that when they open that, they have 2 additional expansions for that plan.
Already.
Yes.
I'd rather sit in 6
The new
hours
Harry Potter
of
land,
Small
you know.
World.
Right. And you know that
Ministry of
they're
Magic.
building a park in London.
Yep.
Yes, they are.
Now they
Yeah.
are not doing Harry Potter there because they cannot. They're too close to the.
No, because it's got its own place over there for Harry Potter over there.
Yes.
They
yes. But
already
they're doing-
have the Harry Potter backlot tour, which is in England or London
Right.
area.
And it's
Yeah.
too close to that. Yeah. But they are going to do Lord of the Rings somehow.
Yes, they are.
So that should be interesting.
The
Well, I
Lord of the
find it
Rings Park, the
interesting
first
how-
one of its kind.
Yes.
how they're going to expand Disneyland and California Adventure into that parking lot.
Yes. Well, that'll be an adventure just to see what they do. with
Well,
Disneyland.
and here's the thing. They've already got it planned out because Anaheim's already worked it out with
Oh, yes.
Disney. So
They already
it's
proved it.
moving, that we know is moving forward. Now,
Yeah.
what it looks like after it's done, that's what's got me curious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we already know it's going forward. We know it's all a done deal. I mean, it's set
Yeah.
between Anaheim, and now you're talking. You never thought Disneyland would have expanded like that, but now it is. It's going to be taking up a whole commercial. I mean, I don't know how many blocks around there now, because it's
Well,
now going to control the roads around
Yes.
Disneyland.
Right.
Across from that International Drive, which is the road that heads to Disneyland, Disney itself has bought out 3 of the hotels that used to be there, and they're taking them out. That's Disney
Yeah.
now.
Oh, you mean Harbor on Harbor Boulevard?
Yeah, Harbor Boulevard. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not surprised that they are going to wind up owning all of that at some
Yep.
point and
Nope, we'll try.
converting it. I mean, they just finished building the DVC that's next to the Disneyland Hotel.
Mhm. Yep.
I got to see
I'm-
Pixar Pier last time I went down there.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
Pixar Pier, Pixar Hotel.
Yeah.
Yep.
And there was talk that they're going to put a Skyliner in from the Pixar into downtown Disney, but I'm
Good.
not. Yeah, which
no.
supposedly they have.
Oh well, I haven't heard that rumor.
Well,
Yeah.
they also now they have the pedestrian bridge that will go from Pixar right into California Adventure, the same
Yes.
way you can go in from the Grand Californian.
Yep.
Well, then it
And,
does.
yeah, so that's
That's my daughter's dream thing is to stay at the Grand Californian.
Yep. I have DVC, and that's where I started. Grand Californian.
Ah.
I'm working on it. I got to get a house freaking first.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
gonna have a regular place to live.
I
Yeah.
got to have a house first.
Yes. Well, luckily for us, we have that.
Hey, Dave, who said you have to have a house? You just could basically rent out DVC rooms the whole time.
Well, that's not cheap though, Richard.
That's not cheap. No.
Well, hey,
Let's
if I
win the
get
lottery
this job
first.
and I can start making 6 figures, it might be a possibility.
What type of job is it?
It actually has to do with small business stuff
Oh, okay.
and actually collecting merchant payments and all that. I'm not quite sure. I'm just investigating it right now,
Okay.
Yeah.
but it might be something up at my field since I deal with the travel agency and
Right.
yeah. The only issue I have with DVC is that every time they build a new resort, then they up the points to stay at places.
Yeah, I noticed that I
Yeah.
was reading a blurb in one of the news things that said it's going up
well,
shortly.
now, but
Yeah. I
Because
got in
when
at a
we-
good time. So
When we explored DVC, it was Old Key West.
It wasn't, but it wasn't called that. It was something else back then.
No, it was.
Okay.
No, it wasn't called Old Key West. There was a name before that.
Oh, really?
Yes. And it was the only one in town, basically. That was it.
It was in the early 90s.
It was 1999, I think.
Oh, no, maybe it was.
So, yep, then they blew up and they got much more DVC stuff going.
Yeah. I'm glad I got in it when I did. So I wish I would have went into it earlier.
Well, we have timeshares in Maui. Okay.
We have trades into anything.
We have 3 2-bedroom units yearly.
Okay.
And we when we went to Disney World in 2022, was it? 2022 with the family, we got a 3-bedroom unit. How many square feet?
1,600 square feet, like a condo, for 2 weeks.
2 weeks, and still had points left from one of our units.
Okay.
Space Bank.
Nice. Okay, guys.
Anyway,
we're gonna probably have to start winding this down. My phone's about to die here.
Yeah.
Well, plus I
Okay.
gotta run off and do something. So, all right.
All right.
So with that, guys, I'm gonna say, so don't be, guys. Tomorrow, be on the lookout. We won't be doing the late night shenanigans because I want to get a good night's sleep for Saturday. But I may do I'll probably do a special. And if you can join me, Richard, you're more than welcome. I'll probably do a special afternoon hangout about 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, on the Disney Dreams channel. So,
Okay.
and we have to behave, but we can cause as much shenanigans as we want. They just have to be respectful. Respectful.
Yeah,
They have to be respectful shenanigans because it's not after midnight.
That's
Oh
right.
gosh.
Midnight is the witch.
Good luck on that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we've had some really strange shenanigan nights. Really
Oh Lord, have we had some strange shenanigans. Actually, no, the last couple of Fridays it's actually been kind of quiet.
It was that one
But
Friday.
we've had some that were like Pete McDevitt is joining in on the show, and
Yeah.
Well, when I hear Jill
Well,
from
heck,
the other
even the
room,
cafe chats is going back to the normal.
yeah.
Yeah.
when I hear Jill from the other room cackling her head off, I figure something weird's going on.
Yeah.
Guarantee you, yeah, that would be right. And usually it's usually certain people behind it when all that starts. And usually it's either going to be, sometimes it can be Richard, but sometimes it's usually Doug, Pete,
Jonathan.
Jonathan, yeah,
I'm an angel. I never caused none of the shenanigans.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have. I'm not gonna say which ones, but yes, you have.
Hush, Richard. Hush.
Oh,
And the good thing is Mama G's busy, so I could cause shenanigans right now and she would never know. Because she's probably busy putting in sports stats and over on Pete.
Let's not
Yeah,
cause shenanigans over here.
she'll just suddenly know and she'll be here. What can I say?
6 cents.
Come out of the
Yeah.
work.
Anyways. All right, guys. So yeah, look for a special hangout tomorrow about 1, in between 1 and 2.
Okay,
When I
was gonna
start-
say, I probably will join you closer till 2 to 2:30 your time because
Yeah, and I may not start till
Okay.
about 2 o'clock my time. Because
Yeah,
tomorrow I've got some things I got to do in the morning. I don't want to go do laundry, but I'll probably have to go do laundry in the morning.
yes, laundry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
especially when you're paying about $10 to get it done. When I used to be able to do it free in my own home.
Exactly.
Yeah, you get spoiled.
Yes.
Yeah.
But with that, guys, again, let me just say thank you, Mike and Jill, for all that. I love it. I mean,
You're quite welcome.
Yeah.
I love it. And, anytime you're doing any of these new, I can guarantee you, I'm going to tell you now, anytime you guys do some of these newer ships, I'm going to rope you in here. I'm going to tell you that now. So just
Sounds like a deal.
Yeah.
because I actually, Well, if I get what I want to do, because I've had it with my job, so I'm hoping this thing works out. That if I can make money off of this thing and get my website. See, my thing is, if I got my website up and running, I have a feeling my business would take off real quick. I mean,
Yeah,
not
it's holding
explode, but I'd probably be able to push out my business a lot more, and I'd probably have some clients.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard because you're very limited in terms of where you are.
Yeah, and I can't use Facebook because it's been hacked so many times. I just don't trust Facebook anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm limited on. I'm trying to use Discord and push everybody there. So that's why I'm saying. Oh, you like the older ship?
Harlan likes the smaller. I can tell Harlan likes the smaller, older ship experiences.
You know what? Sometimes that is best, though. Sometimes if you like the older ships, I mean, like I said, the first cruise I actually physically has been on is the Elation. The Elation is now the oldest ship in the Carnival fleet, but it's still good. It's a nice ship. It's the small ship of all, their whole entire fleet, and now it's probably the oldest of the fleet because it's been going since like 1999, 98, somewhere in there.
I was going to say, I think
we were on the Conquest.
We were on the Carnival Conquest, and that was the experience we had in 2004, Dave. That was the ship.
But Elation was operating before the Conquest.
Right.
Yes.
Because Carnival Conquest was brand new when we went on it.
Yeah. And Elation was one of the oldest ones.
Right.
Okay, so Harlan, he don't mind trying some of the newer ships. He just happens to like some of the older ships. And I would agree with him because honestly, here's my thing. When I experience, like when I like to do sailing down around the bays and that, to me, I like powered ships. But to me, there's nothing when you can put sails up, turn off the power, and let the wind take the sails. Mm-hmm. That, to me, that is sailing. That is sailing.
Well, and also
I did that once. We were in Michigan, and my stepfather's parents had a cottage on one of the small lakes in the Lower Peninsula. And I went out on a sailboat, and I tried to do. Of course, I was a lot younger. I was like 17, or might have been 16. I was trying to steer the thing, and I didn't do it correctly, and I tipped the boat over.
Oh, that's not a good experience. Well, that's why.
Yeah, that was not
to
fun.
do it.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Mike?
I was going to say the thing with some of the older, smaller ships is there's a few ports that these mega ships can't get into. They're just too darn big. They can.
Yeah.
And they can.
And that's why we want to go maybe on some of the smaller ships at some point. Is what's going to drive us in the future is the port that is sailing out of, the length of the cruise, and the itinerary.
Yeah, I mean, and I know as I get going, for me now, it's going to become more of, I want to try the different size ships. I don't have to try all the ships within their fleets, but obviously I want to try the different suppliers I use, which is a lot of them, MSC, right. Virgin, Royal Caribbean,
right,
Carnival, obviously Disney, so and for me, I'm going to vary it, but it's going to become about one, like you said, looking at the itinerary, where they're going to stop, the size of the ship, and what kind of experience I want to be able to share with my clients.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, because you're going to have clients from all sorts of different choices. Let's put it this way. Yep. Some will prefer smaller, some will like larger because they want. Yep. Some will want party, some will want more quieter. They're all over the place.
Exactly. I mean, because like I said, I know my niche. My main niche still is focusing. I really am going to try to focus on. I mean, cruise is a big part. Obviously Disney and all that, but river cruises and traveling domestic is where my niche, where I'm trying to get my niche to.
Right.
But
Well, as soon as we go on our first river cruise, we'll be happy to share that with you.
and there you go. I look forward to that.
Yep, me too.
So, all right,
Alrighty.
guys. Yeah, because I actually, if I sit here and say I haven't eaten dinner yet, I guarantee you, Mama D will be running in here in about 2 seconds.
Yes, she'll be saying, "Wait a minute." Of course, it's not horrible. It's only 8:30 for you,
Right.
so it's not like when you haven't eaten dinner and it's midnight.
Huh.
But I could wait. I could wait another 2 hours. I could wait
Yeah.
another 2 hours, and Mama D would never know.
Yeah, it's true.
Yep.
Yep. All righty.
Anyways, so
Well,
with that, guys, I'm going to say again, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing. Again, guys, look for the special hangout tomorrow. Look for the thing on Saturday. Harlan said he was supposed to go on a river cruise in Europe. Then all leave. Oh, sorry to hear that. So you must have been in the military at the time that you were supposed to do that, Harlan.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, that's probably when there was a lot of issues going on or that.
Yep.
But Sunday, maybe possible I may end up down at Disney doing Easter resort hopping. And looking at all the Easter egg stuff and all that.
Yes, before they go away, because that's it.
Yep.
They'll probably be breaking it down so on Monday.
Yep.
Of course, they'll be starting for the next thing. What else
Absolutely.
is there? So there's that, and then Monday, and I hope everybody will pass it out. I would love to see a good crew in on the Disney live stream. Yeehaw Bob will be here at 6 o'clock, guys. I'm looking forward to it. I look for that to go to an hour and a half to 2 hours. I mean, I'm going to try to keep it within an hour, but, give or take a little bit. Yeah, he was in the military. That's what I thought when you said
Yep.
leaves got canceled.
Yeah, when you use the term leave, that's, yeah.
Yep. So I actually have a packed weekend for me this weekend, so which is kind of good.
Yep.
Now we got to work up to getting now the one channel up to the 700 mark.
Right.
Plus the fact that I'm now halfway to 3,000, which means if I can get the views on the one channel up, then I can start offering perks if I decide to do it.
Right.
But with that, guys, again, thank you for
Yep.
being here. I'm
Nope.
glad Richard was able to join us.
Yes, he added. He always adds to the equation. So
He does. Well, I know, and what's nice about it is he has done so many different, and he has done different cruise lines, so he's got that perspective.
right.
Especially when it comes for food. Him and Mike. Food,
Yes.
food.
Well, that's
And
why
unfortunately, when you talk Disney and when you talk cruises,
Yep.
food's the top. Food is at the top of the topic chain for those. So,
Yeah.
but anyways, again, thank you too for any final comments from you guys.
No.
No.
As I said, I got so excited today when I was rewatching one of those videos, and I thought I would be on that ship tomorrow if I could be. And so we are looking forward to doing a holiday type cruise on the Treasure Eastern cruise.
Eastern Caribbean.
Eastern Caribbean. Yeah.
Oh, another one I'd have to rope you in on.
Oh, definitely. We would
To
share
let you
that.
see what it looks like on a holiday cruise.
Yeah,
Yep.
well, you'd have either Halloween or Christmas, and you'd have the Eastern ports, Eastern Caribbean ports.
Bet the Grand Hall would really be something.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean that's what I'm actually looking for next year is to not probably do a holiday cruise on it, either on a Disney cruise for out of the ones out of Port Canaveral, most likely.
Right.
But
Right.
things have changed since then, and now I'll have to wait and see how things change between now and
Well, you
the
gotta wait
time
till
I
your life gets more
physically get
stable.
a new house.
Yeah, so you gotta wait till your life gets more stable, as do we right now. So
Yes,
yep.
and we are. So prayers to you on all that situation for you guys. And
yeah, we're working through it. My daughter's a real trooper, and she says her son, he is learning all about it. He is excited to learn about it, and he gave himself his own shot or his own injection the other day.
well, he's braver than me.
He's 8 years old, and he is a trooper.
Well, he's braver than me because I would be complaining up a storm.
Yep. He was so excited that he did it himself.
Good thing that he's young, because he's still impressionable. That if he's trained right, then he'll be in a good place. So that's a good thing.
Exactly. So yeah, so that's moving along as as it should. It's just something that takes a little bit of time. So
yep. And with that, guys, I'm going to say, if you are looking to travel, I know Debbie put the links in there earlier. If you are interested in joining Discord, guys, the link is in the description box. Just click on it. You'll have to answer a couple of questions to get into it. But we will get you approved, and you'll be able to go in there and see some pictures that I've posted. Hopefully, Jill, like I said, maybe you can post some of them under the section where clients will be able to post things.
okay, well, I'll take a look at it and see, and if I have any questions, I'll let you know.
Yep. Oh, thank you, Jill, for putting that in there. Yes, one last time.
Yeah, I just went up and copied Debbie's.
There you go. Yeah, if you're looking at it, because I don't know how things are changing. That's the other thing. I had to spend time in the morning. My hosting agent changed everything. And when they changed it over, some of the information went over, but most of my profile stuff, most of my W-2 stuff all got wiped out. So now I had to go reset my agency profile over there. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So just another thing that you remember how I was saying all those issues earlier in the week about it, that I didn't know what was going on.
Right.
First, there was the login issues. I didn't know they had changed the portal. So that was the first thing. So then it took a day or two to get that. Now I got that all straightened out. Now I have to go in and straighten all that out.
Yep. It never ends.
Life of a business owner, guys. Just remind you, if you're going to own a business, make sure you're going to have to put in the work.
Yeah. Good luck on that, and enjoy your weekend, and we'll get to join you on part of that.
Yep. Well, that's good. I'll be looking forward to seeing you in there. So just be looking for a lot of laughs, Mike. So if you laugh, you'll know there's shenanigans going on somewhere.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. It's always great to see you. But again, it's good to see you guys, and I'm glad. Thank you. Again, I can't say how much I appreciate you guys sharing your stuff with the community. It was great. So.
Well, our pleasure. And the next time we go, we'll do the same thing.
Well, by the time you get back, by the time you probably do the next one, I'll probably be back to my home, have a dual monitor and a desktop computer, and we'll be in far better shape for me to do what I need to do as a channel owner.
Well, I hope that's true, even if it's later this year and we're going on one of our river cruises. Hopefully by then you're in your house.
Well, hopefully by September is what I'm looking at now.
Okay, well, that's probably we would be doing a fall cruise probably anyway, so that would be, yeah.
Hey, unless I get this new job and if it can start making me money, then I might be going, screw waiting on the probate. I'll pay the house out of my pocket and buy the damn house.
Yeah, you just save it up and do it.
And then I'll say, okay, my cousin can take care of the house. I'll see y'all later. I'm going on a cruise. Bye.
Bye. Yeah.
I'll see y'all when I get back.
That
would be nice dreams, but we'll see. Yep. Anyway, thank you guys for being here, and thank you everybody for being in the chat, for hanging in and listening and having fun. Thank you for those that are ninja watching. Guys, don't forget, if you're new to my channel, please check out my other videos. If you like what you see, this is what we do every Tuesday, Thursday on this channel. I do have another channel called The Dave's Disney Dreams, where we talk Disney on Monday, Friday, and Saturday, and you never know what's going to happen. So go check out the videos. If you like what you see, hit the subscribe on both of the channels. Hit the little thumbs up and subscribe and come back and just hang out. With that, I'm going to say what I say here. Let the Cantrell Country Travelway help you find your magical vacation. Have a great night, guys. Bye.
Good night, everyone.
Okay, click that. And